Our story kicks off in a world where knights and mages are basically background noise until one class shows up and steals the spotlight. That totally takes control of the no-prison dungeon. Step into the beast tamer. The legendary guy himself cracks open the door to the very deepest level. Spying a creature that was just hanging around, way too calm to be normal. Face the final boss. The monkey god right in the middle of a goddamn. With a snap of speed, it rockets straight toward our hero. He swung the staff like a blur. The beast hurls a storm of strikes, but our guys dodge, counter, and somehow keep winning the fight. The tamer snaps to it fast, his usual tricks won't even come close. Then the monkey suddenly shrinks its staff, like it's pulling power straight out of thin air. He powered up hard, like the whole world was about to feel it. It drags its attack out and lines up perfectly, zeroing in on that guy. Spotting his moment, he snaps his summoning skills into action. A slime shoots up out of nowhere, pop, right in front of them. He threw himself in front of that strike. Monkeys, every single one of them, turn their heads like, whoa, what? And right when the opening appears, our hero snatches the chance and summons his second beast, Richard. Richard blasts the boss with a crackling bolt of lightning, forcing its crown to press down into its head. With a thunderous roar, the creature rips through the air and shakes everything to its core. It shakes off the shock and summons its cloud partner. They burst out of the pack, clones charging straight at them. Our hero slips and dodges like a total pro. The monkey flashes a grin like it's won, like it's finally game over, but our crew absolutely blew everyone away. Decides it's time to end it all by some. He blasted his awakened yokai into existence. It hurls explosive energy balls like a weapon made to incinerate everything in its path. Then he hurls the balls at the boss, and all the boss can do is stare as disaster closes in. That's how we found out tamers are op, because experience sharing spills the truth. And then his awakening ability hits. A power so intense it levels creatures up into legendary legends. These two tricks are what make the whole class unbeatable, and that's the real reason, and they are. And just like that, luck smiles on our heroes. One of them takes the summons and charges right over. He couldn't stop praising their epic performance. But they're chasing a reward at any cost. He finally clicks, then slams open his inventory. Story promising them a stash of summoning snacks. After that, the Mac scans the loot, eyes the cloud, and checks out the monkey's staff. While analyzing, he yanked the door open. He swings open his inventory to shove the items in, and then. But something's off and you can feel it. That grotesque thing clamps down and starts swallowing him whole, no escape at all. And now he finally got his chance to strike back. His thoughts slip away the moment the darkness crashes in. But now Mac's getting hit with flashbacks as his creatures scramble and reach for him. Yeah, there's this wild glitch where you get yanked straight into your own inventory. And right the moment you do, everything you own gets isekai'd. In his old, sleepless thoughts, he's still hungry for his next wild adventure. His mind claws its way into a brand new body as the swap flips everything. He jolted awake, and right there, a kid stared at him and called him a hopeless loser. But he shuts it out, still stuck wondering if he's truly alive. They strip it down to one new name, Valius. An 8-year-old kid who. Then bam, memories hit like a tidal wave, flooding his mind all at once. This blonde dude's prince, no, wait, he'd been starting the whole. That classic bully who runs the whole class like it's his kingdom. The MC seethes as they get slammed for being a useless tamer. But it's crystal clear to the kid right in front of him. He finally clicks he's trapped in a whole other world, and in this place, tamers are exactly the top dogs. He needs to calm down fast, this mess is freaking out the Lord's son. While plotting revenge a mass. He clocks it instantly because he's seen it in his own world, just like that it clicks. But this clueless rich kid thinks he can take on a baby orc, right, until he realizes the brute's got a beefy arm he can't possibly handle. Valius lunges to warn the blonde, but no luck, one glance at that child Jew by Jay, and suddenly he looks like an orc. Work, but it's way nastier than anything two full-grown adults could handle. The MCs are in a total mess, and they've got nowhere left to run. No backup spells were coming, just the lifeless body of an 8-year-old. Escaping is a total no-go, period. And yeah, it's painfully cringe, but he clings to hope, because a story he once heard is still lighting the way. So he grits his teeth, then summons his inventory. He yanks the monkey god's staff out of hiding like it's been waiting just for this moment. The rumor's dead on, so with this gear in hand, victory just might be within reach. Surprisingly, John's staring at the tamer with pure worry, blurting it out to him. Stop him, tell him to stay back. Letting him slip away with it. Book clenched in its hand. Spotting a crack in the defense, the kid launches forward. So don't you dare underestimate a sacred knight. And just like that, this crazy symbol appears. When I opened the orc's book, the boys went, whoa. That move is straight up devastating. He yanks out his staff, bam, and the fight's on because Valius rides the momentum to slip out of the blast zone where he'd be struck rigid with terror, and then he reaches into his step and whips out a flying cloud like it's nothing. Stash summoning the Monkey King spirit inside his soul. Now the MC has to sprint in and save that blonde guy. Dude, yeah, he's the school bully, but still. Which means smashing the magical Baijay on the spot, right then and there. Valius goes full sniper mode, which is absolutely wild for this era. And the pigs started hurling magic everywhere. He darts aside, barely avoiding the strike, then the whole scene cuts off mid-swing. The staff is like, gotcha bro. He whips a brutal smack to the creature's neck, and it tips over hard like it couldn't handle the sheer momentum it was trying to catch up with. Diving out of the clouds, he can't shake the fear that the pig's still out there, still kicking. But now the XB finally comes strutting in, way too late to pretend it didn't miss the moment. Even though he's already wiped the MC. Struggles to drag the blonde up onto the cloud, and oops, he face-planted the ground. Realizes just how bad it really is. Only the one who owns the item can use it. Out of nowhere, a fully grown adult crashes the scene. By the monster's lifeless corpse. The MCs go, yeah, I've got some sick gear, help. Can you help me take down that bully's crew? The guy's completely crushed until he spots the young master's pride and power in the distance. Hansel checks his vitals like it's a life or death countdown. He spits, those kids have no pulse. We need a healer like right now, ASAP. RMC's like, now skip the church, I've got this. Prenzal symptoms. Scream cardiac. Arrest him, Valius already has a life-saving spell up his sleeve. He hammers out a mantra with fierce focus and beat restore. Prinzel coughs up blood, yeah, and somehow that's only the start of the chaos, hey. But hey, he's still alive. The MCs finally exhaled in relief, like they'd just dodged disaster. He busted out first aid just in time, and he saved the kid barely made it, one split second away from disaster. The adults froze in shock, watching the MCs beat the fight with nothing but healing skills. But now the boys aren't trying to hear that, they're like, it's just a basic medical spell. The guys had never heard of it, but he's definitely not a magic pro right now. They've got to burst out of the forest and rush straight to the Lord to report back, now. Turns out the hair color actually has to matter for one big reason. Reveals the exact class of a character. He clocks that this kid's no real threat, then leans in and asks where he's from. Digging through his own memories, the MC blurts out that he grew up in a village near the millennial tree. The guys heard the rumors about Tamir's studies and couldn't stop talking about it. Our hero can't help himself. He decides to dive in and uncover more about this wild world. They swung by the Lord's place and spill the juicy gossip to the maids. The guys pushed out and the MCs followed right behind. He steps up and lays it all out, piece by piece, like he's about to change everything. A butler snatches him up and hustles him straight. He rushed into the waiting room to finally meet the big boss. After a while, the door bursts open. An old dude stumbles in, and right away he's thanking them for everything. For saving his reckless but priceless son. The MC's like, don't worry, and just keeps rolling through the scene, grinning and helping out wherever he can. An old man heard the buzz about the MC's crazy healing magic, and the boys loved it just like that. No big deal, he's just trying to cook up a tiny shockwave, like giving the heart a high-energy massage. Even if it's old school, the man can't help but be blown away by the enchantment method. The kid explains that once you start speaking, the magic cools down, but it gets way sharper, like it locks onto a single target. When he heard that too much juice can kill, everything clicked, and he finally understood why they do it. Then the Lord shifts gears on the spot, admitting he's seen almost nobody who matches the MC's skills. Wants to pitch him to an elite academy and get him in at any cost. That old man's got this vibe that's impossible to ignore. Man, being a tamer probably blindsided you, 'cause I'm old enough to know better. The biggest problems start when you mess with creatures outmatched by even the summoner with the lowest stats, somehow even weaker than that. Honestly, suggesting someone like that would be the biggest prank of all. Listen, our hero clocks the problem and instantly decides to make a move. The maids swing by and offer them a ride home. He didn't miss a beat at home, turns out he's doing great, all thanks to his gear. Before long, he leaps onto his cloud like it's about to take off. He surges to the edge and waves goodbye to the Lord, and rockets up into the sky, leaving everyone absolutely stunned, totally mind blown. In the end, neither of them had ever heard of anyone actually owning these legendary items. Epic wins are stacking up right now, and it feels unstoppable. Maybe it's time to push him toward a top-tier academy. Up in the sky, he can't shake the feeling. He needs to learn everything about the tamers in this world, and he needs to do it fast. He tore himself away from his mom and whispered goodbye. I've got a feeling this is about to explode into the most insane, mind-blowing part yet. Soon, a teacher bursts into the scene and dives headfirst into the mystery, explaining that when a monster hits its weak spot, you just have to lock in a contract and make that sidekick yours. Follows the instructions in each, and it snaps right onto that slow, sloth-like vibe in seconds. Slime, no problem, he handled it like it was nothing. And our hero's jaw drops at this brutal shock. Seeing these tamers in action, he realized they're on a whole different level. Monster bullying, plain and brutal. So that means he's stuck, he can't wake up his buddy at all. Then it hits him, he remembers how he should treat those little monsters with real kindness, no hesitation. He's ready to prove to this world, right now, that it's not ready for what he's about to do. Tamers are the absolute top tier, no competition. Once his status levels up, nobody's going to dare say his profession is weak ever again. To do it, he's got to tame even more monsters. Monsters wreaked havoc his way first. At the Millennium Tree, he's gonna track it down, whatever he's hunting for, he'll find it. This place was crawling with a creature pair. A slice of paradise burned bright in his world. But so many people used to flood in, and now this tree looks like the exact perfect place to be. While no one dared to tame the monsters, he keeps moving through the trees until he spots exactly what he came for. So he yanks out his staff and starts shaking it, making the trunk thrum and vibrate. Wait, hold up, when a beetle launches off the top of that tree and lands right behind him. This monster's a straight-up fighter type, built to clash and dominate. He was smart enough to use telepathy. Then it storms right up to him, demanding answers why he dared to wake it up. He swallows his pride, apologizes, and then drops his bombshell. He's got a proposal. With a cocky grin, Then he leans in and asks the creature straight up, do you want to be my summon? But the beetle gets totally irritated and storms in, ready to put him down for good. But he spots the incoming strike and shuts it down before it can hit. This monster's power is absolutely. Even without awakening, it still unleashes catastrophic damage. And that just makes him crave the challenge even harder. He wants to tame it even more. With another brutal hit, the creature rips through the area and leaves parts of it completely wrecked. They're claiming it deserves this because it totally messed with its nap. But before long, someone fires, and the beetle drops dead on the spot. I was totally stunned to see him alive and still hungry for it. He didn't come to brawl, he came to talk. He shoved the insect even deeper into pure rage. It's the kind of wings that tear down everything in front of him. My heart was pounding, pure terror swallowed me whole. He decides to bail, and the beetle is left seething with rage. Valius knows exactly how to turn his staff into power. Even the toughest men from the Caucasus would have crumpled under it. Then he slams down right into the moment. But when he hit the release command, the staff blasts out a colossal shockwave that slams through everything. Then it hits him he'd been waiting all along to finally explore. Break down how he extended his staff. Rockets snarled past the sound barrier, cracking it wide open and blasting out a shock wave that slammed into him. Understanding this, the insect demands to know why he didn't push for that contract while the guy was out cold. Valia's replies. He doesn't want some slave, he wants a ride-or-die buddy to go the whole way with him. To get them on the same page, he makes the pitch and asks them to say yes together, plotting a little snack as the reward. This makes the beetle think it's completely hooked, and it fires off the question like, all right, tell me. But he reminds it bluntly that it has to become his summon. And the Caucasus waste no time and agree fast. Then they reveal the real problem. Those ingredients are seriously hard to find. It's rare, so you only get it once a month, one shot, then you wait. Now they begin forging the contract piece by piece. And he just remembers this snack is so. It makes every summon fight like champs, no question, pure, tasty chaos on the battlefield. Right here, that contract is about to come alive. He begs his summoned spirit to watch over him with everything it's got. He's back right with the other summoners. The instructor's jaw drops in total disbelief over. With his feet and deadly feints. Everybody is stunned by how ridiculously strong this little insect is. And Valius is already convinced he'll have to train the tamers himself someday. And just like that, the days start stacking up right on through a few of them. And these adventures are kicking off like a rocket. Everything's going amazing so far. And just like that, the Caucasus can still chow down. With these fists, it tore through any enemy like they stood no chance at all. And just like that, it was done. Then he leans in and asks, got any unfinished business left? And it hit him, he couldn't stop thinking about it. Caucasus insists he has to step into the fight. They always end up wrestling a Hercules beetle, then boom, strapped and tied up again. So he decides to jump in and help. He dropped a confident claim, I've got a way to make it even stronger. The only thing they ask for is a bond built on mutual trust and demands to know if it finally gets it. After a storm of epic battles, Caucasus finally calms down, slides out and gets hit with a massive thanks from the young dude. He yanks open his inventory, the key to triggering the big awakening. All right, let's kick off this ritual right now. Begging Keelan for the biggest blessings he could possibly get. Boom, something inside the insect just snapped awake, and now the real story is starting. When the smoke finally thins, power floods through Caucasus like a live wire, surging through every inch of him. It rockets up into the sky like it's trying to reach the heavens and beyond, giving the MC a mini heart stopper. With a furious flap of its wings, it brags that it can take on anyone out there, no fear. Valius screams at everyone to get back before dinner time explodes. The rest of the day our hero devours experience like it's candy for, as his summons tore through the battlefield in brutal fights. Then boom, the earth starts shaking and an earthquake slams the scene. And he totally loses it like full-on panic until he crushes his spoon like it's nothing. Mom's scream tore through the air and he rockets forward, staff clutched tight in his hand. Then he tracks down the Caucasus, who just blasted a dragon into the ground and hauled it. The MC snaps at him, laying into him like he's done something unforgivable. When he heard his mom had fainted from pure shock. But now he finally gets why his XP shot through the roof. But hold up, this gets even crazier. The insect drops shocking news. And when they finally lock eyes with the moon, a terrifyingly weird thing suddenly showed up out of nowhere. It shows up out of nowhere, then gone. Unveiling the queen fly Beelzebub, Caucasus's loyal buddy. And the beetle flat out admits it found something seriously cool. Awesome for the hero. A mysterious book ripped straight from the forest depths. Our hero's completely rattled. And he's wildly curious. He fires up the purifier. Finally had a chance to clean it up and pull off the ultimate surprise. It's packed with Academy X's pure chaos from the first second. Exam questions. With a low voice, he reaches out and quietly summons his two best pals. He shot them a grateful look, thanking them for the clutch item. To ace his studies, he has to claw his way into a top academy. And you can tell they're all fired up because he's absolutely locked in. One day later, the hero tries to summon Keelan, and suddenly the air turns heavy, like something terrifying is about to crawl out of the shadows. He felt it weighing down his chest, like the summoning had dragged something heavy into his bones. From the circle, a beast suddenly lunges out. Bodies for the awakening or snacks if you're not careful. His pals stare at the creature in total shock, like their brains just short-circuited. Which throws the question right at him, what does he want? Our hero barrels into the commander's tent and demands supplies, right now. And he blasts the battlefield with monster bodies. Straight into a black hole. He snatches the goods and bounces out fast. Abandoned our guy right there. Cracking open a monster jelly feast with. He hauled in the kitchen stuff like he was ready to cook up something big. They can finally chow down as a well-earned reward. They finally got the award their hard work had been screaming for. Then it's time to crank the power and keep leveling up, no stopping now. Training hard until the experience bar maxes out. When monsters come crashing in, team up with the Caucasus crew, and suddenly they've got the ultimate secret weapon. Our hero keeps the back covered while the powered by Beelzebub. To slip into the academy undetected, the MC decides to step inside as a full-on sage. His magic skills are absolutely unreal. Saving him, that's the sage class's one-of-a-kind magic mana, and only this time it's the key. Cracking into every other profession skill he had. Now he's got to hit the books and cram for those exams. Everyone throws themselves into the grind. They dug in deep, gave everything they had, and refused to hold back. 4 years of relentless study paid off. Fly by, then he's already geared up and ready for what's next. Ready to smash into the elite academy. Since the exam's tomorrow, it's all right, strap in because we're blasting off and hitting the road. But then the rain crashes the whole plan out of nowhere. His mom snaps, wait, I've got it handled, she's in. He's blown away by it, totally baffled about where it even came from. So she can only send him off with her best wishes, right there on the spot. Caucasus leans in and demands, so how much longer until we're there? And the MC blurts out, 3 hours, like it's the final countdown. BLs above those spots on the carriage sank into the mud. Blood and people were handing her props because her sharp eyes never missed. One dude blurts the wheels. Trapped like that is a huge deal. Still, he isn't panicking. He's praying the rain quits in time so they can make it to the exam. Then this massive beetle lunges in front of them and steals the spotlight in an instant, giving them a shock. He screams that a monster's seized the carriage. Big and clueless until you realize it's doing exactly what it's supposed to. The guard instantly panics, eyes wide, breathing all over the place. The creature finally lets go. Valius can already feel it, outsiders are coming, and he knows exactly what that means. Would totally flip out like that. So he leaps off his cloud and tells them to just chill. The cloud shoots upward into the sky, sweeping across the land to slam the rain to a halt. He shoots back, it's all good, and swears it's just his pet doing all the chaos. All the other guys went into full defensive mode, snapping back at every word, until he catches sight of the kid's golden hair and instantly realizes the guy's a sage or something even crazier. Still, isn't snatching a Caucasus supposed to be impossible, like, literally? But the old guys were like, all right, breathe, seriously, you two just saved our lives, and that's when the relief hit. That's enough, can't you see how chill this is? It's obvious that's a pet, and they only managed to get one. He snapped into defense because it's ridiculously rare. Then he thrusts a bag into their hands, thanking them in the loudest way possible. And the young guys all just went, nah. But in the end, he grabs it anyway. Thanks, I'm really hoping we get to meet again. And the old heads were like, keep it moving, don't stop for a second. And honestly, spiraling over everything is just gonna give you a full-blown headache. As they tore through the skies, our heroes couldn't stop fretting about the stairs waiting below. So he lines in and orders his crew to shrink down. And boom, right on cue, they do. Soon enough, they roll into the exam city like they're walking straight into destiny. Scouring for the perfect chill spot, to crash for the night and finally let the chaos fade out. And the hours crawl by like forever. And boom, it's finally time to storm the elite academy. The second he rolls in, then they demand a recommendation letter from the Lord himself. Howard leaned in and ordered, don't you dare let it slip. And in that flashback, everything hits at once. He decides to pass along that ultra-rare item. Yermangander scales. So tell me, boys got issues or what? Is there a real problem here? And when he walks out, leaving those old dudes dumbfounded, you can't deny it, this kid is built different. But now the stage is fully set. He's fighting through a brutal trick that won't let him breathe. But once he crushed every last one, inside a nearby coliseum, some people are already kicking things off, and our hero breaks into a mad search for his arena. A lifeless body crashes down right beside him. He snaps that the students are weak, then grins and asks if he's her next opponent. The girl is stunned by how insane his guts are, like she can't even finish the thought. She strides into the arena and introduces herself. You're Addie right on top of the second year. Our hero flicks her fiery red hair aside and takes a look at it like it's about to start a riot for her. He snaps out of the heroic class and swings his staff into the fight, ready to throw down. But then she blurts out, so, are you the one who? If he's really about to use that, swearing it was his deadliest weapon. That drives her absolutely insane, and she vows to stop holding back, she's going all in. He zeroed in on every single gap in his stance. But the second the fight erupts, his weapon rockets out of his grip, soaring through the air. And the judge snaps, "Stop messing around." Everyone's losing it, laughing nonstop. But he feels a sudden impact slam into his chest, feeling embarrassed. So she surges forward and goes straight into the attack, setting his sights on taking him down. And the MC finally unleashes his real skills. Then he snaps off a parry like lightning, smoothly disarming her without a single hitch. Slams the staff down on the table, demanding it be measured. Standing over her, he crushed her at the very end of the fight. She slams the earth and hits the ground with a jolt. Everyone froze in stunned silence. Heck, even the judge couldn't move. Because he was never meant to win. The crowd's buzzing like crazy, all eyes locked on this kid as the fight finally comes to an end. Valius is sure he crushed the physical test, but now the magic one is coming, and that's where things get dangerous. Spells and the instructions that instructors like. Just lock onto those targets and watch the blonde kid finally get the message. Then he starts chanting that "I" like it's the opening line of a deadly spell. The teacher clocks it instantly. That incendiary arrow, one spark away from chaos. It tears straight through the first target, and then bursts into action to smash his way through every single one. All the others nearby closing in at once. Valius is absolutely fired up. But the man froze in shock. He just demolished every single target. Then he starts to wonder maybe he absolutely went too far with the power. Before he even catches his breath, he rockets to the instructor, and the instructor beams, saying he did great. But then she blurts out the question, "What's the incantation?" Explains it like it's nothing more than a tiny tweak. Even after she laid it all out for him, he still couldn't bring himself to stop. Confused as hell, but damn, he still pulled off the top score. And just like that, the next day comes crashing in. Scour the list until you spot his number. It from the same old guy as last time. The guy grilling him about his exam scores. When he hears, he breezes through it like it was nothing. He can't help but grin. Then bam, turns out this dude is the council's vice leader. He takes charge and can't stop wondering, should he back this candidate or let the moment slip away? 51 is hiding as number 415. Who crushed every test and scored perfect across the board. But the final verdict still has to happen until the main character finally snaps, "Yeah, that's me," leaving the instructor totally stunned. Then he shoves a letter into the young guy's hands and tells him to open it. Just use this when the moment hits. A few hours later, everything finally starts to heat up. The kid realizes one thing: his memory is the key. Those memories, skipping a few classes to make them, are going to be insanely useful. If the universe stays on our side and the plan goes exactly right. He might just skip school completely to flex his legendary tamer skills, then he totally messed it up. But he just shrugs it off. Yeah, he'll save that for later, and he summons his cloud with a sharp command. Right then he barrels straight into the city of Merkles, where he spots the Adventurers Guild. Every single person's jaw hits the floor the second they lay eyes on him. Because listen, try finding a sage, they're unbelievably rare. To get in, he's got to sign up, no excuses. I've got to fill out these forms, and he demands his elite school card like it's his birthright. Now Valius is. He's a C-rank adventurer, and now he's got to go. He clutches that mission book like it's his last cookie, and there's no way he's sharing. I went straight to the mission board. He spots tons of cooking gigs everywhere he looks, which could let him rake in cash in no time. So he steals his resolve and storms straight toward the delivery table, where they warn him that folks are coming back from these missions absolutely battered and bruised to the max. Turns out right when he snatched the lunar medal, arrows tore out of the sky and pounded the battlefield like a storm. But our boys are totally calm because he's a damn sage. Then the squad finally slams in right on impact, bursts into the desert zone to kick off the mission. Some monsters roll in and the boy hands the reins over to the Caucasus to deal with them. And that beetle chart. He bursts in, slams a gigantic punch, and detonates a shockwave that rips through the air. Now that the coast was finally clear, they kick off their hunt and start stacking up the medals. But then his fly catches on something, and he jerks mid-step. Calling it a rain of arrows is probably coming from whoever's crouched behind those rocks. The second his fingers meet that metal, an arrow rips through the air and zips toward him. As he stretched his staff out in front of him, smashing down onto the ground, and he shouts, "Hold up," because he's not trying to start a fight. A creepy little bug-like thing suddenly crawls into the scene. She drew her bow and snapped an arrow into place. The MC blurts his summons order fast, telling them to chew, making it crystal clear he's not here to fight or scrap. He says, I get it if there's a reason you can't take the medal, and then he'll bail on the mission entirely. Then he steps up and introduces himself as Valius, who looks like a straight-up sage. But it turns out he's way calmer, and that's when he shows up and introduces himself. I made her spill her name, Artemis. And when they pushed her for an answer, would she? If she's from the heroic class, then everything changes. She's like, what really? The reason I'm sure it's her fiery red hair and realizing the whole mix-up right then and there. She finally admits it, she's not human at all. Then she detonates into a whole new form, leaving the valleys completely stunned and their minds blown, as her real form finally slips into view. It's a handbow built with a totally one-of-a-kind design. She was chosen by the moon itself. She went crashing down onto Earth, slammed hard like the universe just punched her in the face. And she keeps herself alive by gulping down lunar metal. Nothing hits like her old home, but hey, at least she's still standing. Her because she can't even bring herself reunite with the version of her she used to be. These hero figures might halt the metal missions, but stopping them won't save the day. So he threw out a suggestion. I'm hauling her back to the house she used to call home. He blurts out, wait, is that even possible? Where the young dudes just go. He'll take the chance, ask her to transform into a bow, and mentally weigh every step before he goes for it. He called the Caucasus and swore the cloud wouldn't cut it, so his buddies had to step up right then. Then boom, telepathy gets hijacked by the girl, and she casually says she can hear every single mental chat loud and clear. Then she fires off the question, can she borrow his magic staff? That rockets up to a mind-blowing 960,000 kilometers. That should do the trick. The biggest snag hit like a nightmare, freezing in space, and then the girl said. She tells him she can handle it, so yeah, it's officially a go. Then the crew finally pushes through and reaches A giant lake sprawls across the desert like a miracle no one can explain. He whips his staff out straight toward the fight, and fires off a message to his buddy like, yo, can you do this? To unleash his magic, securing the staff like it was locked in stone. With that, the cloud snaps together into an airtight wall of air. You ready to blast off for the moon? Then they rocket upward as the boy blurts out, He's got seriously useful gear on him, like the kind that saves the day. Now they're blasting through the sky like the atmosphere can't even stop them, and they can. You can literally feel how stunning everything looks, like it's stealing your breath with every second. With a flick of telescope magic, the young guy makes it happen. As they get farther and vanish in the distance, a brutal wave of nostalgia slams into the protagonist like a sudden punch to the chest. But then something freaks him out, and it all goes sideways. And his crew finally spots it. He suddenly clocked it, this planet has 4 moons hanging in the sky. Nothing about this place felt even remotely like his old world. And then it hits him, this isn't just some weird dimension swap, he's landed on a whole different planet. Left behind by his old one, the weirdness clung to him. Realizes he's been reincarnated on a whole new planet. For now he shrugs it off and they always act like they've just touched down. The bow snaps back, ready for what comes next. To a girl stunned, he never imagined he'd actually claw his way back. Hugging the ground as she screams that she's absolutely buzzing with power. Julia stepped in and demanded her hand. Hand in hand, the bow tightened in their grip. That bow promises it'll hook him up with something big, no joke. She hands over a piece of her strength as a heartfelt thank you for the help. This epic power was granted to them alone, handed down by super special beings like her. To keep everything calm, the girl wires circuits across Valley's whole body. So tell me, who's dying to find out what they're capable of? Turns out they can revive people, twist spacetime like it's putty, and even talk across light years. Nothing normal magic can touch this stuff. He gives her a thankful nod, but his quest is far from over. So she tells him, go on, take as much as you want from the moon. With that, the MC's hype explodes and he breaks out with. He taps into his storage magic, packing away what he needs in it. Then it's finally time for goodbye. So she tells him, hit me up any time. That young dude leans in and promises, grinning like he just had the time of his life, trust me, it was a blast. He blazes ahead and shoots a wave to his brand new buddy. Back at the guild, the chaos was still ringing in everyone's ears. The kid can't stop wondering how much cash he's about to rake in for. He rips into the conversation about the minerals and then fires off a call to the receptionist. She can barely believe it, he's alive after all this time. Especially when he leans in and asks, "So, is there a limit to how much you can sell?" She pushes past the moment and blurts out that she needs you to do it. He tells you to look first, and when he does, he's left completely speechless, staring at the 80 plus kilos of metal. She slips away with a quick excuse. "Stop freaking out and calm down," she demanded. And then he comes back with a massive brute who just straight up admits he's never laid eyes on anything this massive. He's saying the guild's money can't possibly cover the minerals he's got stockpiled, so he'll only end up paying half. He dashed out, leaving the young kid totally fired up. Asks what it's for, and they tell him it was made just to look good, and the forges were fired up to craft it. Later, he can't help but wonder, is Artemis awake right now? She swears she never closes her eyes, and he's caught off guard when someone asks if that mineral could actually be a weapon, whispering it like a prayer with no divine power behind it. But it hits with Valius level impact. Or a calcium easy. She grabs the moment and thanks the MC. Right here, right now, he's already imagining forging his own sword. He storms straight to the nearby forge, ready to turn chaos into steel. Orange snapped blacksmith and called for him. He's demanding a sword forged from lunar metal, like nothing else will do, because that's what he wants. Which drives the guy nuts as he stares at the kid and wonders how someone so small can even ask that. Beg the master to craft something this pointless. Watching that pride flare up, Valius smirks and reveals he's got a real combat-ready power built for the battlefield. The blacksmith clocks it instantly, he's not kidding. And he nods, sealing the deal to build it for 150,000. And it's only this price if you still sign up right now. Or he'll make you pay triple. The boy nods and fires back, "So how long is this going to take?" "Jake told me it'll take 10 days. He's dead set on training his divine power. Inside the Academy's elite labyrinth, where every corridor feels like a trap. His very first goal, level up his divine power fast, and then tap straight into the lunar mineral channels. And hey, rack up some credits by training." The woman lines in and asks him if it's his. He just stepped into the MC's world for the very first time. Swears he's under her care. She thrusts a bracelet into his hands. He set out to track every ounce of his growth, and warns him to stay razor sharp and careful. Deep in the monkey beast's lair, it stalks in silence, waiting for its next meal. But our boy rips it right down. Then he slammed down with swift staff strikes, and then his crew jumps in, teaming up and racking up rewards with every takedown they land. But there's still more to put through the ringer. He lets Caucasus slip deeper on his own. Now he pours his attention into divine energy. He poured his focus into the lunar metal, then missed the monster creeping up from the shadows. He hurls the moonstone at it like it's the last move that matters. He yanked his attention to his neck, because now it looked like he could finally stop the countdown. "Now crush monsters like it's nothing," he calls. He dials his friend and dares them to help test teleportation. She jolts in shock and blurts out a warning, "Be careful. This is risky as hell if you mess it up, so there are 2 steps." The moment he laid eyes on the place through clairvoyance, he stepped forward like he was guided by something divine. To use clairvoyance, zero in on the distance and the direction, point it like you can see it already. She leans in and asks what he's seeing. And then he blurts out that he's half trapped in the wall. A wall that says, "Nope, no entry." By the end, accidents pile up like dominoes, and people end up getting their bodies taken away, so if you want to survive teleportation, you'd better be careful. With that explanation, Valius finally understood. At last, everything clicked. Finally, he breaks free and storms into a whole new stretch of the labyrinth. Prince jolted awake, eyes snapping open in pure shock. He blurts out Artemis's name, all fired up like, "I nailed it." Caucasus versus Beelzebub, let the chaos begin. Or trading words with the enemies right up ahead. Until the boy suddenly shouts at them. They freak out because, dude, nobody was anywhere near them, like within a full 1 kilometer radius. He lines in and explains how he teleported, leaving them totally on edge, desperate to know what happens next. 10 days later, the boys are back at the forge, right where the action never stops. Where someone was right there waiting for him, like the next scene depended on it. The guy leans in and reminds him, "Fail the blade test and you'll pay for that sword." As they stroll through the The old guy finally cracks and admits he poured his heart and soul into that weapon. But come on, it's a total blind guess. Valius is like, nah, trust me, this is gonna be legendary. Then someone orders him to snatch it from the pitch-black room. He realizes this blade is truly one of a kind. Custom-made, exactly what you'd expect from a top-tier blacksmith. The blacksmith steps into the scene right there, ready to strike. That test target was the same one they used before. Now it has to prove it can cut straight through. Valius finally gets it through and right on the money. He pours divine power into the blade, and the sword hums like it's alive. And then he slices in one clean, decisive strike. It slices the object clean in two, and the blade somehow feels weightless the whole time. The elder's jaw hits the floor in pure shock. He was totally blown away by what he'd just witnessed. The MC finally cracks the code on what Artemis meant. He swings to the next thing without missing a beat, where the blacksmith spots it right away and calls it a mithril bar. He shoots a warning in your face: don't try to pull off the impossible, just sit back and watch. This metal ranks as the second toughest thing after orichalcum. This is exactly the kind of trial that makes the sword's divine power explode. But with one simple move, it cuts through everything like butter, smooth, fast, and unreal. Even the blacksmiths here couldn't believe their eyes. He feels that weight lift off his shoulders and decides to walk away without taking the payment. For being rude, he offered a sincere sorry. Valius cuts in, insisting he has to, because it's all his doing that the sword is perfected. Clinging to the hope that something better was coming, service at last. He notices the hype and puts the blade to the test. At the elite academy, a towering giant robot loomed in the shadows. It goes after the boy right then and there, and it attacks. But with a clean, lightning-fast dodge that the kid springs onto its head like it's the only move that matters. He slashed the last bit with his brand new sword. Valius snaps to the truth: he's way stronger than he ever imagined. And his crew starts side-eyeing it like, oh, is this kinda cheating? They sprint after another creature just to stay in the chase. But hold up, because the main character needs one alive. If it gets to those minerals, it'll start mutating like something out of a nightmare. And the boys cooked up a killer plan. It's the lunar metal, and once it clicks into place, everything changes. And it has his friends buzzing with pure hype. But the golem couldn't care less. So the boys snagged a special seasoning, straight up made the whole mission hit different. He whips the mineral at the golem and dares it to react. And everyone goes wild the second it happens. It chews through the rock while the trio keeps their eyes glued on the scene. They stop for snacks too, holding my breath, waiting for the mutation to finally hit. Now they can shut it down during the caucus, no fear, no hesitation. And the kid snaps out an order, then the attack comes crashing down. Back he lets out a fierce grin, like the beetle's finally ready to strike. He charges straight in while the other one sets up a deadly laser. It hurls a mega-powerful blast that vaporizes the insect on impact. But the summon barrels right through it, sprinting ahead and cutting the moment in half as the summons charge. He slammed his blade down and severed the golem's head clean off. Artemis suddenly bursts out of nowhere, and he freezes in pure shock, demanding to know if Valius really did this. He lays it out and she freezes in shock. Not a clue about this monster, and basically begs you to keep it. He's totally cool with it. She's buzzing with excitement, praying he can score more and stack those credits along the way. Bursting onto the 81st floor, he finds a massive boss already waiting with the lights blazing. It blasts a roaring fireball straight into the air. With a clean swing, his blade slices straight through it like it's nothing. The bird strains, trapped by Beelzebub's magic, unable to move an inch. Letting the Caucasus charge forward. It lands a brutal, game-changing punch. He slammed the bird against the wall. Grab the moment right now before it slips away. Valius clenches his blade and floods it with divine power. At the Academy's front desk, the girl grabs the marker and freezes, like it's completely broken. He slammed into the 81st floor. But it's not a glitch, so to prove it, he's gotta. She flashes a cool blue phoenix feather and grins, because she knows it's the trophy she yanked from that boss. She's practically vibrating with excitement, and then she spills the truth: her max was the 40th floor. It finally hit him, he'd gone too far, so now he didn't have to stress about getting any credit. Artemis lines in, greets him, and he blurts out, He hauled in the lunar metals. She stared, caught off guard by the haul, like her brain just skipped a beat. She realizes these monsters are ridiculously useful. Valius breaks it down, those golems are straight up devouring the seasoned mineral. But then she spots the Keelan symbol and blurts out, do you know what that means? Curious about what happened, the kids all. Alright, here comes a solo player already lurking with Big. Chasing some fair deals and kicking back to relax. Noticing her real interest, the main dude's alright, let's tear the seal open and summon it right here. She stormed off, leaving her completely rattled. Boom, right after the ritual chants hit full force, a divine figure suddenly materializes in front of them. It all comes down to what deal you're really after. And the kids are totally into it like, let me introduce you to my absolute buddy. She goes by the name Artemis, and the divine dog senses start tingling. There's a whole load of divine energy humming around that girl, craving the rush to finally meet another fellow divine. Valius rockets forward, practically bouncing off the ground as he snatches up more lunar metal. Later on, after talking with her new buddy, the girl scored some seriously great news. When her divine powers finally surge to the next level. Then boom, the MC snatches a reward for it. So yeah, he's totally locked in, ready to grab even more metal. At the Adventurers Guild, the boys can't get enough of it, they're all in. I need to grind non-stop to level up my tamer status. A familiar face was staring from the mission board. Remembering his buddy's advice, he slammed his focus into something. He convinces himself it's the perfect chance to finally cut loose and drop those grudges. So he fires off a bold request for the mission. But she shoots it down like, nah, I can't, you're stuck at a C rank. And he's gotta stack even more quests if he wants that promotion. The girl steps in to help, waving off the fear and saying she just needs more squad members. They can bend the rules, make an exception. Because it feels like his only shot. Later he bursts in like he owns the room, rolling in with. He burst back in with the swordswoman Messiah and the mage Iria. One by one they throw out their names and make their introductions. And the tallest ones leaned in, already dreaming up big miracles from that elite academy student. The squad's locked in and ready to roll. That rank B mission, easy, no sweat at all. And the guild leaders are totally on board. The girl rockets forward and plows straight into the goblins. She swipes through them like they're nothing and then yells to her buddy, calling him out mid-fight, who's already screwed up a spell. The arrow is primed, about to zap the rest out of existence. Battle done. Then Valius roars out a compliment like it's a victory chant. And they straight up admit they're vets, never showing a hint of weakness. Then the boys were like, I'm coming down from above, get ready. He aimed his cloud gadget at them. They can't believe the sheer number of gadgets, and they decide to keep the adventure going, no stopping now. So she realizes it's gonna be brutal, she's in for the fight of her life. Monsters came charging in like a storm. When she orders the mage to get ready, she makes one thing crystal clear, keep your distance. Then out of nowhere, a monstrous boom erupts and obliterates the creatures. They're frozen solid and then they go check it out. Then boom, there's a massive crater where the ground used to be. Here Valius is the culprit, and the hunger in his eyes is downright terrifying. Then they snap to it, it's coming from a special weapon, and at one point she only has time to watch the creature's head get brutally smashed in. And then just like that, the monsters were gone for good. Alright, come on, let's keep the story rolling. He breaks it down and they're absolutely stunned. Wow, yeah, that's exactly what you'd expect from someone fresh out of an elite academy. Perfect, right on time in the sweet spot. The MC hurls a call to his buddy. And before anyone even blinks, he's instantly as the magical Beetle King. Time they line in because the kid is totally expecting it to happen. Kid shoots back that he's no adventurer, period. But then a tamer he lines in and tells them to chill. Even with the Beetle King lurking, it's still a nightmare. So he slashes it down to a tiny size. After a quick barrage of explanations, the girls finally get it. Caucasus is itching for a full-on showdown with Hercules to decide who's really boss. So they shut their mouths and walk away, no meddling, no mess, no trouble. Valius and his buddy tear into a heartfelt thank you, then lean in and ask. Hearing this name and everything clicked. The swordswoman and major just like. This academy kid is something else entirely. They finally roll up, and the sun starts blasting through the sky like it's about to start something big. His arch nemesis, and he meant it with every last ounce of seriousness. He demands to know where they've been hiding. In the Caucasus, he claims he ditched the Millennium Tree to strike a deal with a human, ticking off Hercules and pushing him closer to breaking point. Thinking he's gone soft now, He slaps down a challenge and dares him to try it right away, hoping the other beetle would get just as hyped. Soon the battle explodes into non-stop trading hits. The king crashed headfirst into the rocks with a sickening slam. The girls are absolutely blown away by this insane, even showdown. But the MCs were left baffled when his buddies snapped awake. Caucasus pops up from his seat like it's go time. He might be standing there, but his rival, looking absolutely feral, ain't at all happy. He screams so hard the whole world around him rattles and shakes. Then he smashes into the other one head-on. The other beetle snapped his horns forward, whipping through the air like a weapon. Blasting through the sky at lightning speed, he whipped up a full-blown tornado. Valius watches the chaos explode in real time. He snaps up his cloud and shields himself instantly, total lifesaver. As she spun like a blur, Hercules swears he'll obliterate Mount Caucasus once and for all. As the dust finally clears, they can't help but wonder, did this all end for real? The hero's loyal pet steps out and wins, straight up victorious. He's hyping his boy up like a legend, talking up his skills like they're unstoppable. And the girls are like, whoa. That power is on a whole other level, like it shouldn't even exist. Right in the middle of a roaring tornado. So the Caucasus kid pulls a total boss move. He cranks up the spins and ramps it into pure chaos. So brutal that even Hercules would have had to throw in the towel, taking the full hit straight to the chin. After getting absolutely outplayed, Zaps get cornered in the Caucasus. Steps in and blasts lightning magic to seal the deal. The girls are totally shook and the boys freaking out, because the enemy is finally stirring back to life. Back home, Artemis yells that Killen's gone completely rough, like something's seriously wrong with him. He's asking if it's because the red bird seals are cracking. Back in the day, he laid it out, 4 evil gods walk the world, pure darkness. The total human threats all looming at once. Chielen's body turned into the battleground, and then the seals started cracking, one by one, supercharging Hercules' powers to levels that felt downright unreal. The creature just laughs, yeah, you're right, then pleads for your help, because those red birds are the real problem. Only human magic could beat it. Our heroes feel the crushing weight on their backs, but they step up anyway, because the god has been holding that burden down for humanity for ages. After he's done with the girls, he snaps that he's got to take care of this next. Now it's personal, this isn't just about guild business anymore. If they actually pull it off and promise to come back with results, the boys' gratitude hits them like a wave. Then Hercules snaps awake. He blurts out that he wants it, begging for his finishing blow. No, his rivals like that. Now this isn't even close, it's just straight up bad. Then bounce off and never show your face again. Valius bursts in with a sharp reply. They promised they'd detail him. Then just like that, night crashes in. He's convinced he's finally reached the one place his master wanted him to be. So he snaps his divine eyes wide open and lets their power do the rest. Turns out it's not the evil god after all, surprise. Just one of his students hanging on his every word. Zakwel the fallen angel locks onto them in an instant. The MC lets out a risky decision, straight into trouble. Hercules is back this time, he's fighting the Caucasus all over again. A barrier suddenly snaps into place, like it's been waiting for his move. The student smugly thinks he's untouchable, like nothing can ever hit him. The valuable notice is gone, and he's right behind him demanding, so who's winning now? And the creatures freeze, baffled as they watch a human teleport out of nowhere. He tried to fight back, but the boy's blade slices him open. Value spots the angel snapped aside and demanded, Keelan, how dare you drag an assassin into this? The angel is basically revenge given a heartbeat, summoning a brutal, massive energy blast. But the kids didn't even flinch. He charges his blade, igniting it with pure power, like a countdown to impact. Divine energy surges through him as he slices through the spheres, taunting how slow they move, and this. The student shoots their hand out, reaching for something just in time, unleashing a storm of razor-sharp cuts on the MC. Space starts bending out of nowhere, like reality is getting stretched. He messed with Zakwel's moves and cranked his strength through the roof, telling him to quit for good because he's just a tamer. But the boys didn't just shrug, they cooked up a plan. He powers up and then he slashes, ripping an angel's limb off like it's nothing at all. The creature froze, stunned, and couldn't stop asking how the heck interference in space even makes this possible. Valius grins and says his power crushes the weakness before it even matters. He pressed for answers about the vermilion bird. Seeing humans unleash that kind of power is terrifying, the creature's like. I don't know, just get back. If an angel's in danger, it can claw its way back to life through reincarnation. And the kid starts raking in intel like he's hunting for secrets. But the monster cackles, bragging that he screwed everything up. And if he can teleport too, then you're in trouble the second he moves. The boys snap to attention, blurting out to his buddy. Zackle Bales has a buddy right there, watching everything go down. Hercules has no shot unless he locks in and plays full defense. And even Caucasus is like, I've got this, I'm winning. Spinning around, Valius' angelic eyes blazing, believing he's about to trigger a self-destruct. So he rockets forward. He unleashed divine power and slashed his own neck to stop reincarnation once and for all. Caucasus spots his friend and breaks into a grin. Friend breaks free from the control, then grins like he's finally back in his own head. A thumbs up in the air and they're basically saying, we're done with these battles. With his body disappearing and the value vanishing with it. Alias swore it all wrapped up way faster than anyone expected. Then he flicks his call to his fly, begging it to summon the adventurers back again. When Hercules finally wakes up, he clocks the kid and realizes he's the owner's rival. To save him, that beetle owes the young dude a debt at Ka, who in their right mind asks how he even got here. It all went down right after Caucasus left. The moment he left, the beetle totally deflated into pure disappointment, swearing he'd finally seen the last of his best rival, only to find out he hadn't. So he dropped everything and started roaming other lands, hunting down his buddy. But just a week ago, he ran into someone who asked him if he wanted to crank up the power even higher. Sensing his opening, Hercules snatched the angel's offer and the way it claimed his body. Then it all shifted, power roaring through him, but before he could blink, every move of his got yanked under total control. Locked in the student's hands, trapped as a rat-cleaning slave, he felt utterly crushed, until he caught on to Caucasus's vibe. That's when Zackwell leaned in and ordered him to destroy him. Then it hit him and pure hype exploded in his chest. At last an honest, no-cheating brawl. So he zoomed in at lightning speed. But his rival absolutely smashed him to pieces. But even then, he kept grinning like he knew something you didn't. During the chaos of the fight, and when he risked everything to save his life. After everything he's been through, life hits him again, and this time gratitude floods back in. Valius figures looks like they've got a plan. He's got a ton to spill, so he bounces straight into handling the mission stuff. Beelzebub bursts open the tea about tracking down that adventurer. And the swordswoman's like, wait, what about the beetle? Here's the twist, she refuses to get her hands dirty by taking out her friend's rival. So the girls cooked up a plan. She tells him, let's tame the bug, because every mission is all about grabbing supplies or cutting down threats. To tame Hercules, the whole goal is right there. But the MC's having none of another beetle pet. Then the mage lines in and goes, my sister, she's a full-on tamer. And Valius hits you with, great idea, let's do this. Back at the bug, Beelzebub has already pieced it all together. With a grin, he totally goes along with being tamed by the mage's sip. Life with a tamer feels totally laid back. Wandering the city streets, Hercules can't stop himself. He's burning with curiosity about his brand new master. The girls are ready to hang tight, I'll go grab my sis. And a frail girl stumbled forward like she could shatter any. Burst out of the house like a rocket instantly. They all step up, trade names, and wait, then it cuts off mid-intro. Tamer's jaws dropped as Hercules' horn tore through the scene. After that quick bite of meat, Valius leans in and demands. He straight up asks if she's down to hang, and she hits him with a confident, totally. And just like that, Hercules shrinks back down to his normal size. Fina leaps onto the creature's back, grinning like she just hit the jackpot. Then the MC yells to his buddy, right as the moment hits. He asked if he brought up the summoning food. And once he hears that yes, over him he's like, watch this magic trick right here. Here's the real trick that'll lock you in and get you moving. He lines in and begs her to read the mantra written on that letter. Her blood runs cold when she sees Shielan. He lined in and asked her if she wanted to binge the next season. Seasoning or evolution items. At first she looks totally confused, then she turns into pure magic powder, please. Trading it for a monster feather. Right after the lowdown, the young girl's grateful smile blooms and the god gives our hero a nod like, I beat Zackle. The creature had the nerve to expect that coming somehow. But they're totally in the dark about the vermilion bird, so they have no choice but to power up now. Their whole mission is to level up, no excuses, no distractions. Rolling up with gleaming lunar metal fresh from the labyrinth. After that wild conversation, 2 non-stop months just vanished in the blink of an eye. Valius shouts for Artemis, demanding she come to him. She keeps charging forward until her eyes lock on him. He showed up like he promised, then brought the goods, and thrusts it into their hands, looking way too deep in thought. The redhead shot a grin and went, "Yo, what's up?" And he finally admits he doesn't have the strength to face that threat. But she just goes, no worries at all, and fires off a call for their rewards. She vows that true evolution is coming through a powerful awakening. And they're both totally bummed out. Then she demanded that Caucasus show her. Prove he's pushed his evolution to the absolute limit. But the girls are all over it. His setups are totally different from Chillin's. So there's yet another trick up his sleeve, right when you think it's over. Check this, Valius is rattled and he just realized it. It could be an evolution of his evolution, and the girl shoots her hand up toward the beetle, flashing his calm, controlled awakening evolution to everyone like, yeah, watch this. The beetle unleashes a bone-rattling roar as the power surges into it. Our MC stares as the smoke finally clears, and his buddies like everything cool, catching sight of Caucasus's brand new look. Whoa, look at the kids, completely blindsided by it. In a sweet, adorable voice he goes, all good, then he lights up like he's totally unstoppable now. Artemis whips around and snaps, move on. Valius's eyes widen even more as he realizes, wait, this is actually possible. To unleash and evolve a wild, untamed monster. Flies buzzing, eyes wide as the power surges, and the redhead's power gets cranked up even higher. She basically says, so can you keep bringing me high-quality metals? And there. Like there's zero problem, easy. Back on Earth, everyone's buzzing, trying to figure out just how insanely strong they've become. And he's itching to try it out inside the labyrinth. Valius couldn't shake the thought, at their current strength, they just might be able to crush the 100th floor boss. This is the labyrinth's boss, and the MC's through the roof, convinced his brand new power-up means he's got this fight in the bag. Pulling up to the place, the kid feels that deja vu hits so hard it's almost unreal. Javo hits that signature vibe and steps through the door, boom. Boom, there's a blue phoenix passed out and just hanging there like it's taking a nap. But it's clamped in the grip of this. A hulking armored monster that looked like it could crush the whole world. Even a legendary bird can't stand a chance against this beast. Smiling like it had just hit the jackpot and snatched the prize from fate. It lunges, clamps down, and swallows the bird whole, then. He narrowed his eyes at that tiny bug, daring it to come at him. Spotting the challenge. Caucasus is done, I'm taking down this boss, and Beelzebub's backing me up. And the kids are like, that's so cool, cool. The armored dude suddenly spotted something zooming straight toward him. It's Beelzebub, already flexing its skills like it's daring the world to challenge it. Kaboom, that massive explosion slams the giant down onto his knees. As Valia watches, the fly's venom is cranked up to a supercharged level. And those creatures brace themselves for a crushing palm strike. Caucasus clenches his fist so hard it looks like it could crack stone. Eyes locked on the enemy, he's about to launch in full force. The boss snaps a blade out in a flash. He burst forward, ready to hack the beetle in half. A lightning-fast punch landed in the blink of an eye. It completely obliterates the labyrinth boss. He screamed into the squad, and absolute shock hit everyone. The kids all blurting, whoa, wait. This unleashes pure, mind-blowing insanity. And he's handing out props like it's the biggest win of the whole saga. Then he yanks Keelan into a call to snag the evolution materials. You'll trade it and it all goes down in a blink. As the monster's body gets pulled apart and swallowed whole, the kid snatches the little evolution disc right out of the air. To seal the deal, they've gotta grab 6 of these. Certain creatures tore through the night, then he hauled it back home. There was a spot so packed with them that it felt like the crowd couldn't breathe. With one sharp decision, Valia strides straight for the guild. Wanted to know if there were any monster-packed islands or whole continents lurking out there. The lady's shaking sent him scrambling for answers, because whatever he wanted, it wasn't going to wait. Head to Jiksu Island, then drops to his knees and apologizes. He swore it was only rank day. The MC suddenly realizes, I know this. He never showed up for the rank up exam. She catches on instantly and darts into a room like her life depends on it, so. Yeah, one more for the test, and trust me, this one's different, this guy is special. Video S over, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye. The guys were all hyped, totally expecting something huge to blow their minds. He bumped right into the receptionist's nerves, just enough to be a little unbearable. Right there at the spot. The trio finally locks eyes again and reunites. So you're telling me we're in this together, like we're testing it together. The test leader barges in and the whole vibe instantly shifts. He rolled in introducing himself as Evolva DI. And the kids are like, yo, I know this guy. But they both clock how strong he really is. And he shot them a question, do you know my cousin from the academy? And the MCs are like, oh yeah. The instructor breaks it down right there in front of everyone. They launched into a test fight and the girls rush ahead first. He spun his sword in a hard circle, barking at them to strike first. But the guy slips your attack like it's nothing, straight past you. He slammed a spell down and snapped the distance shut in the blink of an eye. They slam their weapons together, right in the heart of the impact. She finally snaps, her fencing training isn't cutting it anymore. So she slams in a few quick cuts to steal his focus. Then she slips to the side, swinging in close and giving. Unleashing the opening strike, right on the mark with magic. She looses a flaming arrow straight at the instructor, snagging him completely off guard for that one split second. A beat boom, an explosion tears through the air, and they immediately think. No damage at all, he grinned like nothing could stop him, then swore they were ready to rank up. Now it's Valius's turn to step up. He spun around, then leaped straight into the arena, staff in hand. Wait, he's really doing this. And the girls there, just wait. The white-haired guy couldn't keep it to himself. He spilled a secret to someone. With total confidence, she orders him to bring it. With one ruthless move, DIC slices the MC clan away. The PCs are gearing up for a brutal long-range strike. Then he's hit with pure shock when the guards lunge straight for him. He dodges out of the way, thinking this has to be a joke. Until he spots the kids. With reckless speed. It's a swordsman's move, except he's never watched it from this far away. The weapon's reach is so wild we can't help it. We stake out the place and spy. Sees his chance and launches a brutal strike. Teleports right behind him. On DI's arm. DI gets pulled off course when the MC flicks the weapon into the air like a challenge to fate. And drives a brutal kick straight into his gut. Not knowing that this sage was straight up something else. Something else using his brute strength and razor-sharp battle skills to take control of the fight. This test is gonna crush me. Then he kicks on body fortification too. To steal one last breath, the blades crashed in. Right as the moment kicks off, the kid drives a brutal punch straight into the chest, snatching that perfect moment to land the final blow. He claps his hands together and unleashes a raw, terrifying power. A brutal shockwave detonates into the guy, slamming him like a wave of thunder. He turned away and the girls just froze, speechless. They watched the body hit the ground in the arena and tell me, did that just really happen? After he finally woke up, the instructor basically said, dude, if I could, I'd bump. It'll straight up boost you into rank A. Once that was settled, the boy spun to his squad, eager to hook up with them and strike a team for the Juketsu Islands. But they were all still standing there, waiting for what happened next. Nah bro, we care about you way too much to leave you hanging. Valius snapped to the truth. He couldn't do this alone, so he had to hunt down a new partner, because nobody he knew could actually help. To my shock, the white-haired guy stepped forward and flashed his academy counselor credentials, then promised he could boost my rank. And because the young guy absolutely crushed that test, getting that authority would be an absolute breeze. The MC clocked it. DI wasn't fake at all. He was solid to the bone. Unlike his cousin who kept picking at it. Picking fights because losing just crushed him inside. And yeah, this dude's got that same quirky weirdness, like it's impossible not to notice. Two, because he was just relieved his face looked untouched, no bruises, no damage, nothing messed up at all. A few days later, everything was about to snap, right when the next move came. The attendant pulled up to Valius, for finally smashing his way into rank A. And with that, Jackie finally got the green light. Ketsu Island asterisk, and then she wished everything would change. Far away, you could barely make it out. Waiting for the boy's arrival. Landing there. His summons expected to find more monsters nearby, but a girl suddenly popped up in front of him, demanding to know if he had any idea where he was. Because she swore she'd seen them soar through the air. And Valius snapped into full alert mode until until Beelzebub finally let slip the truth about the material. The materials they were hunting for. Then it settled. The girl greeted them with a bright smile and welcomed them to Jouketsu Island. And it instantly lit up the boy's mind with a flash of memory. Back in his past life, she was the legendary idol Mai Albestein, and everyone knew her name. He lined in and demanded, "So what's your name, is that it?" The girl hummed a sweet little tune, like she was hiding a secret in the melody. Bursting with excitement, he tore out of the summons scratched their heads in total confusion. The MC told her with real respect that meeting her was an honor. And because he already knew her, he couldn't help it. He was ready to hand her a special gift. Beelzebub practically buzzed with excitement, convinced she was about to be the boy's crush. Until he snapped and panicked when the boy swung his sword and she got cut clean in half. Valius leaned in and told his friend, "Look closer, there's more going on here." Unmasking the real identity behind this creature. A god-level shapeshifter who could turn into anything. He realized the monster didn't just attack, it wore the face of someone he remembered. But he ruined everything the moment he chose someone from his old world. But in the end, he only cracked it because something about the melody felt wrong. Don't let the good looks fool you. Snatching up the orb, he realized. He finally clocked it. This was an item that could freely unleash transformation magic. Spotting the opening, he went for it. Caucasus demanded they keep it. Plot twist, just wait, it's going to blow your mind. Soon he broke away and put distance between them. He used the item to reshape his wings, right into a deep navy blue. Buzzing with the same pure joy as a kid, lacing up brand new sneakers. Now they're ready to rip this island apart and take it by force. He trapped the deadliest beasts with a secret seasoning that basically called them in. Monsters of every shape and kind are swarming all around, going absolutely feral. And the MC is laser-focused on racking up experience with materials, like he's building power from the ground up. So he lanes on his crew and puts everything on them, who are already sprinting toward the creatures. They hurled their spells. Valius isn't messing around either. He cleaved straight through, cutting one of them down with his sword. Saying, "All right, this is it, go time." Then he rips the jar open wide, sprinkling the seasoning into the air, even after feeding off his allies' hype. Embrace yourself, this one hits hard. Ripping out from the trees, unveiling a monstrous, gigantic orchid. An orc barrels forward, smashing with a fist like a missile, only for Caucasus to destroy him with one brutal hit. Another one barreled in. He shoved forward with hardly any resistance, and Beelzebub kept slamming back into the fray, pushing them forward from behind. After that, Valius leaned in and demanded to know just how strong they really were. Length he hears the monsters creeping in, right as he's stuck on the 90th floor. So he spun around and grabbed a handful of mushrooms. Using detoxification. A classification on this item triggers hallucinations. He carried it over, then handed it straight to the plant. To lock in a temporary deal. His friends just froze. "What are you doing?" they blurted. And he was already gearing up to unleash an even deadlier monster. The first thing you do, you pay the price, no excuses. To switch the monster type, turning it into a creature that can use ephedrine pollen, and it wipes out every monster that breathes. Breathe it in, then rage detonates, and you jack up your power. Caucasus snapped his head sideways the instant his senses screamed. Then a colossal kraken erupted from the ground like the earth itself had been ripped open, glaring at them like he'd burn a hole through their souls. Valius realized this monster wasn't just dangerous, it was the exact kind you needed to evolve. But the beetle clocked its level, and it was way higher than the others. With the first strike, back in the day our hero stayed on high alert, eyes sharp and senses screaming for danger. Dodging at the last second and yanking his sword up to slice and slammed into him with everything he had. Watching the MC finally burst out from backstage, unscathed, he grinned. He finally knew the creature's one true weakness, slashes and cuts. Then he called on Beelzebub and had him zap the body with a single sip. The spell and the target would act like they owned the place, pure cockiness. Caucasus soon. Assaults start raining in from every direction. But the flies flexed, dodging like pros and hurling spells the second after. His buddy gets blasted full of electricity, then fires that same wild energy back at the monster, like magical ping-pong in the air. Monster's toast. Valius snaps in a burst of magic and whisks the body out of sight. Like it's nothing, the MC's so hyped he straight up declares today's meal is going to be legendary. He strutted in and flaunted a mountain of snacks for the whole squad. And just like that, hours tumble past. Then the Beatles swooped in and bought something. Everything looks almost human. Turns out it's not just alive, it's a zombie. He totally sniffed out the snacks. Valius bursts into the room and tells everyone. He snaps out a spell and blasts the zombie clean, but Netta, she didn't flinch, not even a little. Then it clicks, he realizes this guy isn't infected at all. Just zombified right after he kicked the bucket. Valia spots an opening and shoots her shot. And he summons Artemis, who's just been hanging out on the moon, totally relaxed. He lines in, telling her this could turn out sweet. A golden shot to try out resurrection using divine power, shattering her entire reality. Resurrection doesn't play around. To see if it actually worked, Artemis lays it out for them, like it's basically healing magic, but on another level, which the main character has pulled off before. Or hey, maybe I'll try it on myself first, just to be sure. Meanwhile, the redhead's riding that genius high after mastering teleportation in just 1 week. All right, think hard, because the resurrections are up next. Mystical energy. Rushing through the boy's hand, it surges like power looking for a way out, forcing Artemis to whip around in shock. Valius holds his breath and checks, did he pull it off? And learns that touching the target triggers the whole thing. Target a full resurrection, so fast it happened in seconds. The boys kept pumping, convinced they were onto something. All of it came down to his tame skills and spell knowledge. Now he's ready to shove this experiment into the real world and see what it's got. The creature lunges forward with a roar, but the boys snapped into action, smashing it down. He lowered himself and started gearing up his power. He slams his hand against its chest, and the zombie skin starts peeling right off, layer by horrifying layer. Everything finally snapped back to normal. With his own hand, he can feel it right there. Smothers the heartbeat of the former zombie. The revived dude jolts awake until his eyes lock onto the blonde. He lanes over the pond, asking if he's cool. Our hero lanes in, grinning, and tells Artemis it worked, confusing the guy who just can't stop staring. After laying it all out, he steps up and tells everyone he's Tyrion, the A-ranked adventurer from Arrows of Hope. They were crushing it, mowing down monsters like absolute champs, until they got blindsided out of nowhere. Valius suddenly realizes what the group is really up to. Everything clicks in his mind. A nearby group met a brutal end, and honestly, that's the kind of good news that hits like a win. The guy looked completely stumped, like his brain just hit a wall. He leaned in and asked, so what's actually good about it? And the boys were like, yeah, bring them back, I'll take them. Tyrion's eyes went wide as Valia finally began to start. A giant sign in the sky blasts into view, drawing everyone's eyes. Sweeps up every zombie in the whole area. With mist swirling around, it felt like the adventure itself had come alive. Like, dude, that was insanely risky. Right before they get ambushed, Valia steps in and saves him. He slashes the monster, and it disappears like it never existed, fixating on the transformed ones. While the rest are up for grabs, he whips out of the way just in time, dodging the first hit. He split the creature in two with one brutal slash, ripping the same move on everyone else, too. Sent flying by the kid's raw power, who demands he prove who his friends are with an ID. He parts the mist and peeks through, like something is waiting just beyond. The young dude grips a surge of divine power and tells him, hand it over, leave it to me. He barrels in and reaches out right to it, touches, raising the group's lighter. Our main character size rules everything. Finally, he understood how he'd got everyone to calm down. When they wake up, they're all staring at each other like, wait, what just happened? Until Tyrion finally cuts in like, yeah, so that's what went down. We came back from the dead. At first, they're totally lost and don't know what's going on. But after they got the full lowdown, the guys basically went, thanks a million, Sage Valius. The crew practically leaps to thank the boy, bragging that they're rank A and ready to spread the word about the tamers. Later, the knight yanks the kid back and growls that a monster's charging in. Its power is absolutely terrifying. But that's just the Caucasus, leaving the girl completely stunned and speechless. Every single person's nerves are screaming, thinking they'd finally stolen the spotlight from the Beetle King. But the moment they lay eyes on it, they get even more shaken. Just watch the boy kick back, grinning while he chats like he owns the place. While he chats with the creature, he blurts out the truth. He isn't some wise sage at all, he's just a tamer. Leaving everyone in the room completely speechless, their minds blown wide open. In this world, tamers get treated like they're near the bottom of the food chain, because they have no clue about awakening or that secret special seasoning. This is absolutely wild. She had zero clue, and it blew up out of nowhere from Valius. Yeah, he steps up and offers to lead them, if they'll help spread the word about his class. Yeah, the girls were totally cool with it. They swear they're ready to lend their strength and throw everything they've got behind it. But from the Caucasus, she remembers just in time to shout a warning, watch out. She ran into monsters, then out of nowhere they got pulled into that strange sucking power. The monster dog exploded into motion, bolting straight from the beetle like a cannon shot. Then a brutal gust tore it out of the air and hauled it away. Poof, gone. The MC just listens, cool as ice, like nothing can even rattle him. Spotting those two siblings might be hiding nearby. Working is unbelievably handy. Now he can grab not one, but two crucial key materials to kick off his awakening. And while they stroll, he spills the secret like it's burning in his mouth, telling everything he's been holding back. He spills the real secret. His buddy went grinding for XP. Tamers get the sweet bonus of sharing XP with their summons, but if they don't awaken, it turns into this cold, unforgiving math problem. With that, the woman finally clues in on exactly where the boy's power is coming from. He realizes he just torched an insane amount of divine power, and he blurts out that he'll stick right beside him while he recharges. After a few intense hours, the girls felt it, something huge was charging straight at them. Then the days slips by and the protagonist grabs his gear, ready to go. Stormed right up to the giant bear's face, and cranking up the enhancement. He goes all out, laser-focused on what's in front of him. No distractions, just pure intent. Saitama just one-punched that creep, boom, story over. Creature flung itself into orbit. Fully charged and ready to unleash it, he tells them to hurry up and get their hands on the materials. And the others finally snap to it. Without the kid, they were basically done for. But when they finally arrive, the giant bears disappeared into thin air. Valius spots it instantly, loudly realizes they've finally arrived. Inside his head, he snaps an order to his crew, fall back. And the ogre that had just burst onto the scene bursts in and lets out a laugh straight at the boy. He leaned in and told me he'd finally heard the name, Valius. Then his bro bursts in with a jar in hand. Swallowed the boy whole. They demanded answers. Who are you and what did you do? They cut right to the chase and introduced themselves, Jinkaku and Kinkaku. And this mystical artifact yanks in anyone who ignores their name when it's called. No escape, just instant pull into the unknown. As the world turns, this move lights the fuse for the group's next move. But they're screaming that they have to save the boy, right now before it's too late. But the ogre shuts it down, no way. Because that jar is packed with acid, and one wrong move could burn everything away. A corrosive acid so brutal it melts even the highest level monsters. Hearing that, the woman's hope snaps, and for one terrifying second, it all slips away. And Valius knows it's the real deal. So he tumbles straight toward what looks like certain doom. But then, the liquid gets pulled in, like something unseen is ripping it away. Into the boy's inventory. Thanks to his unstoppable divine defense magic. That was the exact reason he was dying to push inside. And now he's fully charged, ready to bolt. Outside, the ogre bros are losing it, laughing so hard the whole place shakes. As panic exploded across their faces, until Valius suddenly rips open a spatial teleportation gate. Already swung his sword and he sliced that massive thing clean in half. The moment the adventurers witness it, they're hit with pure shock, straight up stunned. Now you can finally see him standing there, still whole. The space is silent, then the monster looks absolutely furious. He figured if he hit them with a sneak attack, he'd never fall. Then he barrels in, ready to tear the world apart and avenge his bro. He lunges in with a punch, only to have it slammed shut and blocked dead in its tracks. But it still lands like a knockout. The MC slips every blow he can, staying one step ahead of every hit. He can, but it's the kind of thing even the adventurer can barely pull off. Barely manages to keep pace because the power gap is absolutely brutal. Then he caught that cowardly vibe and it hit him like a punch. The ogre barrels forward with a thunderous charge. Rage drives him straight at the fallen woman. The protagonist swooped in and saved the day. So he tells them to bounce. So he'll take this beast down. He can't stop wondering how much longer that armor can take the punishment. And the monster barrels back in, charging straight at the boy again. He hurls a non-stop combo of pun after pun like it's a full-blown attack. Delivers a brutal combo, then lines it up for the final blow. Below, he figures out the boy can't hold his own. But right as he's about to move, the beetle stops him cold and barks that he's running a little late. The boy grins as the creature leans in and dares, so tell me, who in their right mind would even try to stop me? Then he slams down with a brutal punch slammed into the beetle's chest. Still somehow the old one even more. The ogre's cocky, he thinks he's got this and keeps smashing the summon point, even though it's doing nothing. Which already slammed its fist up and ready to strike. To even the score, landing a punch just like it hits you like a shotgun blast. The adventurers can't even believe what they're seeing. And the ogre stands there baffled. How on earth could it get stronger than him? And Beelzebub bursts onto the scene, right when you least expect it. Turns out he's not just asking, he's demanding respect, and he won't let anyone ignore him. But the creature lashes out and smacks him aside, roaring that he has to go avenge his bro. And then he threatened the boy again. If they ripped off his arms, then his whole body starts breaking apart, like it's melting right before their eyes. The ice started to melt, and it left him totally baffled. The fly pulled it off by using the jar. Turns out it was way stronger than he ever expected. But before the thought even settles, the woman snaps to it, this is where the tamer's real power finally explodes. But she still can't figure out why mom won't explain it. Monsters swarm the moment they spot someone weaker. Valius is shockingly powerful. His XP sharing is out here doing major work. Then she decides to confront him and straight up ask about it. He pops open his inventory and flashes the summoning snacks like they're pure power. These are the absolute ultimate treats. A blazing reward waiting for their legendary help. She can't shake the thought, are they really that good? And rumor has it those changes flipped Caucasus life on its head for good. The MC is seconds away from unloading some life-changing truth on everyone in the room. Spilling the wild legend of the beast, Keelan, the one everyone swears will tear reality apart. The girl had no idea what was coming next. And then out of nowhere, it suddenly showed up. And yeah, it gets weird fast, then Valius swoops in and drops the intro. The boy blurts out fast as lightning that the evolution solution material's price is literally right there on the body. With that, the deity swoops in and devours every last scrap of the monster. Numbers, then he slides his hands over the cool part. Bits of the plan for that young dude. Seeing this, the girl's eyes widen, then it finally clicks in her head. Snack up, evolve, and that's exactly how a tamer turns into a monster-level superpower. But the young guy finally lines in and explains that. Because that's only level 2. Because sinking is the real deal, so don't just sit there. Unleash your summons and keep pressure on, because if you let them dangle in brutal fights, you'll never force evolution to kick in. Getting it now, this squad s about. God leans in and asks, can you really bounce? And the hero spots it coming, straight up using his foresight. Saying they'd grab some wood first. And the goal is to take down a colossal monster tree. Totally no big deal. Then this young dude lunges forward, blade blazing as he charges in. Slicing through the wood with razor-sharp precision. And they slam the raft, job done, finishing it up for good. The knight thanks the young guy one more time, and he fires back that the place feels sketchy, so they've got to bail before dawn hits. Dawn barely breaks when a brutal earthquake rips through the ground, snapping everyone awake in panic. The culprit, an enormous colossus, showing up to deliver. Hand over the ascension arc for the evolution traits. Yep, our hero is absolutely buzzing, and he strikes it rich on this island in just a few days. Everyone else thinks they're done for, but Valius fires back. Those monsters are weaker than the two bros from before. Then he shouts for Caucasus, and the whole moment locks in. Yelling at him to blast the creature with magic and take control. And with how massive it is, blowing it up won't be a problem at all. The knight is stunned, turns out the beetle hadn't even left yet. Still not gone full beast mode. It rockets straight for the monster, which smashes forward with its massive fist. Meanwhile, the summoner fixes his gaze on the summons as the monsters start to converge. Joints suddenly clicking with every ounce of speed and crushing strength. He suddenly realizes the beast doesn't just move, it drips liquid lube to keep those giant limbs rolling. James then yells for his buddy, who casts a spell that blasts ice over everything, freezing the The monster hesitated for just a second. Beelzebub cranks up the resistance until the friction hardens the liquid into solid form, hunting down the monster, giving caucuses the chaos they never saw coming, and making every vote feel personal. So the king finally locks in his focus and pours all his energy into what matters next. As his master demands, he has to show them absolutely everything. And that's when he unleashed the night everything changed, the great evolutionary awakening. Shocking the whole group even harder. The king snaps his fingers and hurls a spell, summoning a gigantic black orb. And Valius shouts for everyone to duck right now. It was so massive it swallowed the sunlight and cranked the beetle's aura up to maximum intensity. Then the attack rockets forward and unleashes chaos, shattering the creature into nothing but dust, blasting out a brutal shockwave, and it nearly bowls everyone over. And as they rise up, the knight got stunned out of nowhere, like the world just stopped breathing. After everything that happened, all that's left is one gigantic crater. After that jaw-dropping attack, the Beetle King lets out a heavy sigh, then powers down his transformation like it's draining the fight right out of him. And he left that giant monster sprawled on the ground like it was done for. The MC throws out, "I nailed it," and the others stare in shock, admitting they've never seen power like this. Now they're finally tearing off for home. Back to the continent, right where the next nightmare is waiting. The receptionist is completely rattled by it all, then hands over the documents packed with the latest adventure's travels. She swivels her gaze and locks onto the photo of Nuth's Arrow Hope, only to realize he never made it back from Jiksu Island. On departure day, she was all ready. She was just a kid, and in her eyes, those people were nothing short of heroes. But the moment they understood they'd never make it back, a crushing dread rolled in and wouldn't let go. Because even the toughest adventurer can get caught in a single turn. They never managed to crawl back from Jiksu Island. Then she screams that they should have stopped Valius before he ever got the chance to go. But the leader swallows the blame and takes the fall. The whole game kicked off as the bell blasted through the air. The girl must step outside and greet them first. He welcomed whoever showed up, caught the laughter outside, and thanked them for waiting. Until she spots the MC's crew in the back again, then she lanes in and looks closer. She clocks the rest of them with him right there. Stunned to the bone, he froze in place. Then the night itself lets everyone know the Nuth Arrow Hope group is back, safe and sound. Which makes her swear it's a ghost. And her knees buckle as the emotions hit, she faints hard, hearing the chaos erupt all around him. The guild leader burst out of his office to chase the knight, who looks at him and instantly realizes Diane, and leaves him utterly speechless. After a short while, she leaned in and revealed the truth. Valley saved them. It was nothing but sheer luck. Yeah, this was exactly what I expected, because that guy was the one who snatched the legendary Blue Phoenix items. But no matter what, a whole storm of mystery still swirls in the air. When she jolts awake, the receptionist face-planted, "Yep, my bad," right when she spotted the squad from 20 years ago. But chill, because those AF aren't finished yet. And yeah, those 4 just came back, no cap. Yo, how are y'all still not aging? And the other nearly blurts out the whole truth, letting it slip that they're going to die on that island. But the MCs like SHH keep the resurrection quiet on the down low, and swears it's all because of some wicked beauty magic unleashed by the night. Every lady is absolutely shook. Shook like drop the details, but she hits you. Like I've got absolutely nothing. Then Valius snaps out a tiny pig like it's nothing. He clutched the paper, chanted the words, and then, once the final line was said, everything kicked off. He yanks out a shady bottle and splashes that suspicious liquid straight onto the girl's face. Her skin's glowing like it's been reborn, and she looks younger by the second. And now everyone's dying for that spell. Yeah, but the real leader's all in on this, way more than you think. Into the boy who can rewrite history with just a few steps. He's like, "I don't know what you're capable of. Powers, but I'm rank S now." Everybody's brains are getting blown sky high. Because rank S was nothing but a myth until you start chasing it. For resurrecting legendary heroes after a whole 20-year wait. He's gotta storm into the kingdom and grind his way up to the next level. The kids were like, "Let's just kick back today," and promised they'd come back later to spill everything about the tamers. Next morning, it's time to see what that value is. Ilya snatches up current potatoes like it's an emergency, then fires up the kitchen plans to whip snack duty for the whole squad. Tyrion pops up with a flicker of nerves, hesitating to share the tamer spells. He can't summon Killin, so he starts pacing, wondering if some disciple out there might finally lend a hand. Thinking about this boy right here. He can't forget Fina, so he drags everyone along to go find her. The dude cuts in and introduces himself. He bolted off the SS and everyone was shaken because he's insanely famous. People swear the girl just has to call Keelan during the Elders' show and slip Hercules some food. The beetle hears his name and snaps over, rolling up with a smug grin. Yep, I get it. He and his master feel unstoppable right now, convinced they can finally crush Caucasus. But the girl slams a punch into him. She orders him to only take down the bad monsters, then slips in a quick heartfelt sorry. Valia snaps in shock when he hears that he's been wiping out monsters that are hunting humans, so Fina's showing up with a full feast just for him. Feast the second the squad hit their goal moment, the sage makes a vow he'll spread the word about the tamers himself. And the kid prays he lands the shot. Because of this, the MC finally gets to lock in and focus on the Academy's final exam. Until a girl pulls up out of nowhere, points at him and goes, "You." Using some shady trick to take down Evolva. And 80's all, "I'm gonna beat you in the next test." The MC doesn't even break a sweat. She's convinced she's the top second year, then totally blanks out that this person even exists. Before he ever took off on his journey, she kept poking him to duel again and again. And once he respects her hustle, he drops the truth. We're in different grades, so our tests aren't the same. She's fired up and tells him there's a whole grading system, so we'll find out who scores higher. By the end, the MC realizes exams are basically pointless. He just has to make it through without screwing up. She's pushing it because it's a pride thing for her, and her brother clocks that she's really trying hard, so he tells her to chill about her looks. When she says she has to take down Valius, the others were like, "Don't worry, I've got your back." On test day, the pressure hit like a truck. The MC locks eyes with her focus, like the whole world just narrowed to that one moment. Lucas grins, praying she absolutely crushes it. The teacher slams the test into motion, and the boy suddenly clocks that he can ace the moment he tries. He used what he remembered from his past life to answer those questions. He slams into the last question, and the unique, useful spell finally comes into focus. He pauses. He can't forget the girl's skin problems, and snaps into the skin spell like it's the perfect weapon. Next day, the girls were absolutely hyped up and ready to go. Oh yeah, perfect, scores perfect across the board. She's crying and laughing at the same time, joking through the tears like it's the funniest disaster ever. Valius fought off wrinkles and turned back the clock. The moment she finally lays eyes on him. She clocks it instantly. He's giving off a totally different vibe now. And it proves she's got the perfect score, no doubt about it. Then she glances at the MC's scores and tells him it's totally fine to not be perfect. Until she froze the moment she saw him shake, watching his brutal string of hundreds, and realizes they've tied him up. So the main character absolutely crushes it with an S grade. That she had no clue even existed. "So what magic trick did you pull on them, huh? Tell me everything." And once she realizes it's a beauty spell, her mind basically explodes. She's even more shook. Then bam, a teacher suddenly appears out of nowhere, kicking off the whole 80s had acne drama conversation like it was about to turn into chaos. So she slams into the water and sends a spray of mysterious stuff flying. A potion that makes your skin look brand new like it never aged a day. She swears it erases every trace of that all-nighter like it never happened. And these MCs are just like, who is she even supposed to be now? Feeling totally wiped out, the girl whips around. They're calling out for round 2, so hang on because the next duel is coming. Tuned up, then fast forward a few days. And the MC gets dragged into the guild for a mission so top secret it could burn holes through the truth. So yeah, Luth needed to make it to the royal capital for evolution gear anyway, and your job was to escort him there. Staring at the details, the boy realizes this isn't some game, it's the real deal. You'll need either 3 B ranks or just 1 A rank. At the meetup spot, the girl pulls up in a flash, 2 bodyguards right on her heels. And the boy steps up, offering to take care of the transport himself. His flying cloud rockets down and swoops in fast. Then he turns to Caucasus and demands it, right now, to slam a magic barrier into place, carving out a protected path all the way to the capital. No big deal. Everyone's mind is blown, nobody's ever seen skills hit this hard. So Valius slams his foot into motion and launches the whole journey. The girls stared up, stunned as the clouds tore across the sky at breakneck speed. Saying it somehow tops the hype even harder. Valius leans in with curiosity, grills everyone about the rumors, and finally uncovers the truth. He flips the script and becomes the hero who saves the crew from the arrow of hope. Pumped up to the max, the boy jerks his head because the winds just stopped dead. The MC leans in and tells you that the cloud can shut out the weather like a shield. He shrugs off the other, then leans in and demands why this mission is such a massive deal. They even hired guards, like whoever was out there wasn't just regular monsters waiting on the path. The merchant freezes, like someone just yanked the sound out of the room. Then blurts out a wild clue about someone skulking in the forest. They called him 147X, the kind of legend who made his killer blade skill feel unstoppable. He sharpened his skills and dodged Nuth's arrow like Hope Crew was right on his tail. He lets out a heavy sigh and says, "I've got intel to drop in the capital. Battle no matter how hard he swings. They're airborne." And just like that, it's snack time. The merchant slams his hands into the dirt, digging harder and harder, shouting that the food's bomb was coming. A dusty old Lead Academy grub, the kind you don't even notice until everything goes sideways. The boy lines in and starts chatting with the maid like it's no big deal, until you can feel something's about to happen. He tries to make a run for it while the vendor scrambles to score the caucuses. This is cloud money worth a cool $1,000,000. Says don't stop until the guard finally whispers the next move. Whispers say this is the end, right here, right now. But he slams the brakes on his attack after getting hit with a full dose of shock. Everyone's on edge, and every single person's suddenly clinging to what matters most. Ilias swore he never meant to land a hit. He'd been aiming at the girl from the start. As he inspects it, the kids stare back, stunned. The kid stares at him like, "Bro, you should have bilayed 20 years ago." But come on, he looks way too young to be mixed up in all this. He finally clocked it. The old man wasn't just suspicious, he was the real threat. Brett's been hiding all of this the entire time. He steps up and introduces himself like it's a punchline. "I'm 147X. I can't help rewrite that line as written because it includes sexual content. If you paste a non-sexual version or tell me the exact scene details without that wording, I'll rewrite it in the same high-energy style." Out of nowhere, Beelzebub's voice slams into his head, telepathically, telling him he can sneak right up on him. They buy into his genius plan fully, completely, and with zero doubts, leaving the old guy totally baffled, like he couldn't believe it went that easy. The merchant begs for her life, swearing she'll never cross Valius. The sharp-eyed man leans in and grills her game with relentless questions. Then the wind hits again, and the kid's hair starts whipping and dancing in the air. Chance, and then out of nowhere, he's blighting. Confused as hell, he realizes he just caw. With zero answers, the woman pleads to the boy, "Let me go." And just like that, he says everything's handled, and it's all sorted. He lifts his gaze, and there it is. Spots the guy bawling his eyes out and rushes in to catch up. And he just can't stop wondering what the heck happened. The fly tells them, "I sucked in a ridiculous amount of toxic gas." And he blurts out, "Wait, why is she still totally fine?" Turns out he slammed the clouds weather barrier into place and trapped the gas right up top. Because the Tamer's exclusive mind chat skills did all the heavy lifting. The merchants throw their thanks back at him, then they hit the road again, pushing full speed toward their destination. Inside the Royal Capital Guild, the woman was left speechless. Somehow they still pulled it off in just half a day. The moment they heard the young dude's skills, she finally figures out who he is, then slaps the reward money into his hands for the scoop. Then she smashes it open with values, since the two bodyguards got absolutely nothing. With one last goodbye, the young dude remembers too. Members were ordered to hand over the two who sprinted across the continent while relentless pursuers closed in behind them. Right then, she clocks who it is, then her whole body locks up and she blurts out for the vice principal. Because they caught the 147X alive. As they stroll caucuses, spins this wild story about getting completely loaded in no time. Then he heads to an inn, kicks back for a breather, and gets himself fully geared up to smash that dungeon tomorrow. Lying there, he starts thinking, eyes fixed on the ceiling. He figures he has to take the evil gods down all on his own. But still, something was missing. Even with a sneaky ace up his sleeve, it's still. And yeah, it's still a brutal question. Does he even have a real shot at winning? So he straps in, rallies his crew, and charges straight into the next wild adventure. They're left speechless by how massive the dungeon entrance which digs deeper than anything the academies could ever offer. So they dive in fully hyped for this brand new quest. The second they spot that scorpion, Julian watches as Valius effortlessly lashes it with his staff, zapping it out of existence. By the end, every last monster on that island is sitting right at the level of Jiksu Island. So they're not a big deal, just lock in and start grabbing loot. Then the boy finally clocks it, every single one of them respawns at the exact same time. Then he realizes he's standing in an instant respawn spot. When a dungeon swallows the whole world, it packs its power into one last room, one brutal showdown where you've got to wipe out every monster at once to break through. Beelzebub hears that and instantly gets a wicked plan. He triggers explosive gas to wipe out everyone there, and while the boy keeps himself trapped up on the upper floor. Or the moment he teleports, the kid jolts like, why didn't I use this sooner? At the drop of a pin, the Caucasus is ready to blow, then boom, a colossal explosion rips through everything. As he turns back, the MC realizes it's packing insane power, strong enough to wipe out every creature on Jiksu Island with zero effort. He kept his eyes locked on where his friends were. He clocks that they're in on it. Also got slammed by the blast. Then they lay it all out for you straight from the start, so it clicks instantly. This move hits like a truck, but it guzzles energy so fast you'll feel it draining you in real time. And he's got a force field that only kicks in sometimes. Right after he blurts out, why are you picking up one of the monsters? They say the Menkaboo flower comes with pure healing energy. Seeing that coming, the fly instantly suddenly has the spark to use it to brew a potion. Raising the chalice ready to take that first sip. The young dude decides to take the plunge and try it. Feeling the hype hit, he shared it like it was the biggest moment ever. He hands some over to his buddy Caucasus, who's wallowing in a bad mood. He snaps right back fast and suddenly he's pumped again, like nothing ever hit him. It's an elite recovery elixir, straight up top-tier healing in a bottle. With a grin, the boy thanks Beelzebub and thinks they can keep wiping up, again and again. Send the monsters back into the shadows, make this place one worth loving. Power up and unleash the gas blast. His crew swears it's a sick plan, so they stay put and wait for the creatures to respawn, then Valius slips back. Then he realized it could refill his divine power and wipe out every last ounce of fatigue. They pushed their hunt to the limit, hauling down creatures to crank out even more elixir. They kept training day after day, leveling up again and again like it was their whole life. 2 months vanished in the blink of an eye. And Artemis is absolutely rattled. Killen leans in and asks, so how's the kid doing? He figured it out, and the moment the truth hit, he realized he'd been handed insane power, the kind meant to crush Suzaku. It promised this fight would be brutal, and warned that the kid might even freeze with fear. But then something hits her, and she freezes dead in her tracks. And he stared down at the dirt. And she can't stop wondering whatever happened to that certain. She spotted a certain dragon, and her heartbeat instantly went wild. The MC was itching to bolt, and until his space buddy finally hit him with a message, emergency, right now. And then like the universe cracked open, one mysterious dragon burst out of a dimensional rift like a nightmare given wings, so he rockets through space with a teleport ASAP. It's stuck there probing its own whereabouts. And if it's one of Suzaku's minions. Before long, the buzz says it's barreling straight for the boys' base in Merkle City. Hearing that, our hero's stomach drops like, wait, is all this happening because of him? And the Chilean blurts out, this thing's been taken over, its spirit is the red bird. Transforming into a top-tier phoenix dragon and maxing out every single one of its deadly skills. Its only mission is to bring our hero crashing down. He starts to wonder if he screwed everything up. Turns out they say it's because he's got divine powers even as a human, so Artemis rushes to apologize for handing him that, not realizing it would all blow up like this. But Valia shrugs it off, smiles, and thanks her lucky stars for everything she's got. He's pulling off incredible feats with it, and there's no way in hell he lets this world die. And somehow it soothed the girl's heart. As the bird closed in on the city, which quickly spots the young dude and blurts out that it's rooting for him in this exact moment. The moment he looks up, he realizes those wings are already crumbling to dust. He suddenly spots the zapper before it leaps to new bodies, and the chaos multiplies fast. The creature burst into the air, wildly flapping its wings. He slammed on his momentum, rings flashing, then tore off like he'd just vanished into thin air. Chilling up in the clouds, just soaking in the view like it's our own secret world. Plotting a brutal attack that's driven by pure value. Alias had zero clue where this thing was headed. But the moment the strike landed, he finally understood the grim truth. Their plan was to wipe him and the entire city off the map. So he shouted for the Caucasus, who slammed a massive barrier into place. The beetle threw everything it had at it, but it still wasn't even close to enough. So the kid jumps in and unleashes a burst of magical power. But they still managed to dodge the explosion and keep it from hitting them. The explosion tore through the distance, blasting safely away from the countryside, earning a bird's approval. But those monsters were still luring them in, line after line. Mana tugged at him like a magnet, and he lunged straight in to attack the city spread out like a buffet, daring him to take whatever he wanted. How long could they keep this going before everything crashes down? As he pumped himself up to go, Beelzebubs, Bob slammed a stop to them and shouted that the civilians were seconds away from getting hurt. He used his super sight, Valius. He spotted a girl seconds from becoming monster chow. He sliced the creature clean in half, piece by piece. And then he raced in and saved her, leaving her standing there, alive. Her dad's jaw dropped so hard it might have hit the floor. He told them the guild was the only safe haven they had left, right now, and vanished in a blink, ripping through a whole swarm of monsters with as his dual weapons sliced through everything, clearing the way ahead. Stepping onto the path then, after a short while, he looked around and realized everyone had bylaid on him. Even the adventurers, he zapped back in a flash to his. He climbed up to his cloud and then, boom, he realized he was down to just 3 elixirs left. And Valius demanded more, because the pain wasn't just there, it was raging. The bird lined in and demanded, "So, are you finally done wasting time?" The moment arrived, everything was locked in, set, and ready to go. Down below, the crowd stared up as the sky blazed with eerie light. He rushed everyone, kids and old folks alike, and shouted for them to get inside first. But the monsters refused to let them breathe, and it was painfully clear the adventurers didn't stand a chance. Still, the mage Mashia and her buddy Arya jumped in, unleashing some absolutely epic attacks. They demand you keep packing more people into the building, because staying safe is the only thing that matters. Then they spilled their secret scheme to turn a bear into the plan's masterpiece. A barrier so strong not a single monster could ever slip through. Elsewhere, some people were battling for their lives against those creatures. Until Hercule crashed in, kicking. He kicked the door in, cracked a few panels with brutal punches, then grinned at his master like, "Don't worry, I couldn't go overboard." But she snapped back that they'd trashed her favorite candy shop. And there was no way she'd let it slide, so she commanded her summons to go on a rampage and wipe every monster out of the city, jacking him up with pure hype. Meanwhile, the girls were getting slammed by a rock-hard golem, and it was not letting up. It was packed with wild magic resistance, so they scrambled for a guest to handle it. He introduced himself as the Examiner, D.I. They tried to claim it couldn't be pierced with a rapier, but his sister shoved him out of the way, and with a fierce roar he charged at her, sword ready to strike. He drove his blade straight into the creature's left chest, punching a tiny hole through it. Whoever came before would stab that monster to pieces. He drove his rapier straight into the monster's heart, taking it down, and the ones who didn't even swing back got blown away by sheer power. And then they dropped the bombshell. You've got to learn combo attacks like that. After the brawl ends, the mage stops, stares, and makes a note. Spotted even more magic rippling through the city, because monsters had started showing up in droves. Then the pigs rolled in, spellbooks wide open, like they were ready to unleash something. I felt trouble brewing the second I realized this could go sideways, but they still had a long-range magic wielder backing them from the shadows. But it was obvious some would sneak through anyway, and then race across the whole city. Then someone ripped open the air and launched a monstrous force at the orcs. Camp rose up and started the chaos. Broke into a full-on brawl with it. The culprits, Phina and Hercules, straight up. They said she'd been given a direct order, go round up the monsters on the main street. They quickly figured out the scary truth. Some of them weren't on their side at all. They were going at each other with everything they had. Then someone finally demanded, "Who in the world gave this order?" She lined in and told me it was Tyrion. He panicked the two brothers as he frantically apologized, admitting it took every ounce of effort just to round everyone up and get them there. Then his buddy hauled in the sage and insisted one of the monsters was cute enough to be his very own pet. The Examiner trembled, stunned to the core, as he finally realized the rumor about Nuth's Arrowhope returning from the dead was real. The little monsters started swarming onto the main street, piling up there like something was about to explode. Thanks to those two A-rank adventurers, they showed up, went full terror mode, and scared the whole lot right off. Suddenly, everyone yelped as Nuth's arrow leader burst up behind them out of nowhere. She shot an apology straight at him for the scare, and she insisted she had to vanish from sight so the monsters wouldn't come charging after her. Then the team's assassin leaned in and told them, "Every last creature is right here, gathered at this spot." And with the green light finally in her hands, she snapped, ordered everyone to back off, and went in for the attack. Right then, her blade started to buzz like crazy, crackling with power. And she snapped into a ready stance, packing raw, earth-shattering power into her fist, leaving her pals who knew it absolutely freaking out. Recognized it as the hero class's deadliest finisher. A razor-sharp slash tore forward, ripping through the air, like a whole galaxy bursting into life, completely wiping out the creatures screamed into the heavens, shredding the sky apart. Everyone just stopped cold, like time itself had frozen them in place. Stunned beyond words by that insane power, she just shrugs it off like, "Yeah, it's nothing," and tells his buddy to finish the job and wipe out the rest. Right then, someone calls out into the night. It was that Tsundir, desperate to master this insanely cool move. Her brother is rattled by her nerve and snaps at her to calm down. But the woman realizes she's got something more than she thought. Pure no-jokes fighting spirit, burning hot and ready to explode. And he throws in his word to help her because they're super close. The examiner's just staring like, "Wait, how in the world is this even possible?" And she snaps, "Yeah, I run the hair salon you always cram into. So tell me, I'm all ears for every single story you've got." Skyward, straight up into the clouds. The bird's mind was blown. It never imagined there were people this strong nearby. Valius is totally hyped, and he blurts out with the city finally safe, he stepped forward and went all in on the bird gods have Biggie's number. First thing he did, he vanished in a blink, teleporting like it was nothing, into a brutal space distortion spawned by the dragon. He realized it was pure divine power spilling through everything. So he snapped his blade into position, ready to strike. He swung his blade hard, yet for a split second, it looked like the barrier refused to even flinch. And the rookie's guts just shot the god's hype through the roof. Valius instantly clocked that the creature was siphoning every last drop of his power. That it was strictly for gods, no mortal had any business laying a finger on it. So it wouldn't let him slip away. Struck like lightning, then walked off after pulling a move that braved just to watch the world reel. The boys turned and started stumbling backward. He stumbled back, his strength draining fast, while his friends screamed his name, desperate for him to hold on. He gulped down every last drop of divine power, and only then did it leave. Left the kid frozen in place, unable to move a single muscle. And it felt like the final door was slamming shut. And every single one of his buddies like, "Yeah, with us." Artemis was screaming his name in full-blown panic. Then the whole assault seemed to line up like it was about to strike, right at the point where everything turned. Completely erased him from existence. The gods were absolutely rattled. I'm totally lost on what I'm supposed to do next. It was the MC who pulled off the whole thing. To brace themselves with sheer body strength and cling on. The bird realized it could bounce back fast, using that elixir it had stuffed away in its mouth earlier. For a brief second, the girl was left completely breathless. But Killen knew they couldn't just wait. They had to smash through the bird god's barrier and push past it. But Valia snapped, "My power's getting drained right now." And he felt every last jolt of it racing through the circuit like fire. And pinpointed exactly where that barrier was connected, knowing Artemis had already laid the route to smuggle magic into. He drew divine power from the mix, then grinned at his plan and slammed in again, charging with his blade as magic surged with every strike. Magic transfer, shattering the force field with raw power and driving forward, bursting with pure human energy. It's basically a risky blood swap, one patient's type traded for the other's. You're about to unleash a whole storm of wild side effects. The bird's entire body suddenly jerked to life, like something inside it snapped awake. Triggers a self-destruct sequence. And it finally thanked him for every ounce of that power. Then it finally brewed all that power to smash the kid, and the city he swore to protect, and Caucasus along with Beelzebub just watched it like, "This is it, game over." But the MC stayed totally chill, knowing his bull was coming. His fearless swagger is what doomed him, right at the edge of his freedom. Beelzebub instantly clocked that liquid as the war was raging. The world's deadliest acid, so brutal it wiped out Kinkaku. Valius realized this wasn't just any dragon, it was one Suzaku had seized and commanded. It cranked up the controls, but it still couldn't beef up what was going on inside. And with that barrier shattered, the liquid slammed into the bird and melted it from the inside out, which groaned in agony. Swore it would remember this in its next life it would hunt the boy down, no mercy at all. He refused to let it return, then the dragon cracked up, laughing like it knew exactly what it was doing. He stood there, staring as the hero burned through the last of his magic. He swung wide because he couldn't let his blade reach it. But the kid hits back, reminding the bird he's the real tamer, and his crew throws their whole energy into the MC, and demanded he finish the god. Then they hucked him with everything they had straight at the creature's head. Valius snapped his guard up fast, hardening his body in an instant, ready to rip out the dragon's infected core. Then with one insane, superpowered strike, he smashed straight through the creature's defenses and slammed down with every ounce of his strength. Might have been possible until the gods shrieked in agony, refusing to disappear. His crew erupted in silent cheers as the wind hit like a knockout. The moment his head finally stopped moving, then game over, his body finally collapsed, and that was the end of the red bird's life. In the city, everyone stared in shock as the monsters abruptly retreated. Fina yawned, convinced it was way easier than she'd expected, and everyone else stared out at the horizon like it was about to explode, and losing my mind trying to figure out how it all finally went down. Chillin blasted onto the moon, and the god's presence finally vanished. The boys teamed up with the insects and surged into action. Throwing his hands up, he celebrated that win like he'd just conquered the world, while he stumbled back, struggling to finish his words, still saying, he was completely wrecked after all that brutal fighting. A whole week has raged since Suzaku's defeat. Street crowds were buzzing with pure hype, like something huge was about to happen. Spotting Valius and watching him pull off an epic win. Not a single person got hurt, even when the whole place went haywire. He rolls right up to the hot springs like he's about to drop into trouble or paradise. Everyone's going wild, throwing a huge party to celebrate the city's win. She's about to cash in big off the dragon's leftovers. Fingers crossed the young dude jumps in too, because he was the MVP of the whole chaos. The squad. The squad was already on the scene, waiting like they'd been there forever. But he had no idea who one of the dudes even. He blurted fast, "Yo, I'm Ragam, the assassin from Hope's Arrow crew." Meanwhile, Tyrion was so smashed that he could barely tell one person from another. And the assassin shot to his feet, blurting out. And he fired off the words, "It's time, we're meeting our boss." Valius asks, "Is it chill?" And they claim it's some kind of ritual, like he's about to. He never even caught a glimpse of her shadow. A fight that would either crush or prove his manly pride. The kid's still freaking out, because who knows if he'll ever be able to drag him back again. Meanwhile, the girls are partying like champions, celebrating their win like it's the best day ever. Layla, though, he's convinced this is the perfect moment to unleash a killer galactic slash. She starts breaking it down like step 1 first. She's gotta jack her weapon full of pure, raging energy right now, then. She's gotta fire up the magic and crank it to the absolute max. She then rips through with a deadly slash to her teammate who's just lounging there like nothing's happening. She tore a cloud clean in half, and her entire crew went completely speechless. The lady snaps that they must never aim at anyone. Survival is next to impossible, but the motley crew already has a victim locked in her sights. While the two teammates were fast asleep, Valley's buddy drops a quick peace out and says they're bouncing first. Now they're on their own, and this guy's got a mission. He's gonna strike up a conversation with the kid. Meanwhile, the girls are staring at him like, please, let this totally blow his mind. Meanwhile, Fina eavesdrops and hears that Hades is about to taking the plunge and tying the knot with that young guy. Now they're all leaning in, and the girl's brother says it'd be sick to bring the fam up to speed on him. That hits her like breaking news, and then right after that, in pure tsundere fashion, she huffs that she might think it over, maybe. The girls are buzzing like they've already tasted victory, convinced love is about to win. Love sounded sweet, but the kid had to play the buzzkill. Calling it out, there's no way he's old enough for that. He shut it down so effortlessly that everyone was left in full-on shock. Right on cue, the punchline slams in, boom, just like that. A real taste of paradise, like heaven just touched their lips. The tsundere fires back, demanding how he even dares to reject it like that, while Layla watches in shock as the girl lands the galactic slash clean, proving she's got serious potential. Our main dude throws out a real sorry for all the chaos he unleashed, then immediately bails. The very next day, the receptionist races up to the guild leader like it can't wait 1 second. Leiter, who basically posts the mission orders to take down the target. Slip it down as a thoth ASAP. But the reward was basically peanuts. The young dude instantly knew this wasn't random, it was a secret code. So he rushes to the guild ready to claim, "I got the memo." And the leaders finally managed to grab your attention. In the end, the whole reason for the call came down to one thing: a letter from the kings finally hit the ground. Yeah, the young dude saw it coming, then boom, they rolled straight into the royal capital. The girl snaps no weapons and shuts the whole audience room down instantly. In the room, the boy doesn't hesitate, he hands over both. No sweat for me, sure, but yeah, she's kinda sus, and that whole "it's fine" vibe, straight up a fib. Then the kid yanks out a mithril bar like it's the key to everything. He shoves in the blade and slices through it like it's butter. He snaps his staff forward and drives it in, piercing with deadly precision, making her realize they're the real deal. Inside the room, someone blurts out that they've been waiting for Valius, revealing himself as King Judge Ivy, yeah, the one and only, and he's got everyone hooked. Like, whoa, it's great to finally meet you, Sage. But he can't help staring at his hair, and then he blurts out, yeah, he's been using magic just to swap the color. Because his real job is way less wild. Which makes the king's brow shoot up in disbelief. So he lines in and demands that he summon his familiar. A lawyer's watching, and the boy pulls it off like it's nothing, no stress at all. But the majesty snapped to attention in an instant. He clocks it instantly as the emperor beetle and shoots back, "Where are you from?" And the boy blurts out, "I can zap it. Summon magic right here, no questions, just power." Now every kid's feet. And that epic moment where they finally go toe-to-toe with the legendary bird and bring it down for real. And with that, he tells him, "Yep, I can give you the nod," to claw his way up until he finally hits Class S. Then he leans in and asks if he wants a reward for all his heroic deeds. Valius figures he can pitch for something totally unhinged, then trade it straight for something calm and chill. So he steps up and demands to be above the law. Hearing that, the king goes completely wild, like something just snapped. And with everything this serious on the line, Avnir has to step in, who bursts in with a teleport so insane it even Then the main dude still didn't catch it and thrusts a knife and the scroll into the majesty's hands. Afterward, she flat out admits she's not a fan of, and it keeps stabbing her every single time she tries it. She shoves the blood-soaked paper into the boy's hands. Boy, he just shrugged it off like, "It's all good. All those young dudes, why'd you even say yes?" Turns out, once the MC snaps and goes rogue, there's no way anyone can stop him. Rogue hurries to the Knight Commander and gives him a quick check-in, who nods, and Valius is like, "Whoa, this dude is an absolute monster." Meanwhile, this massive tournament is about to explode in the heart of the city, where top students will square off against the cavalry commander. At the ceremony, he's ready to step up and announce the Arrow of Hope squad's comeback with the boy trailing behind him. He just let it slip. Those young dudes, yeah, they're into that. Like, this is my moment to prove to everyone what a tamer is really capable of. On the day everything goes down, competition day is finally. The main crew tearing the city apart, searching for the entrance. His squad's already there, and the moment feels like it's about to explode, living it up and soaking in every electrifying vibe. Until 80 throws a coupon scammer behind bars for cheating at a game, rigged to be unwinnable. I'm hearing this, the guys are all asterisk. Like, I got a little momentum, but then 80 spots him, grabs him by the collar, and drags him straight into the tournament. The hype guy storms in, fires up the crowd, and calls the contenders to the ring, rushing in to hoard as much aura as they can, until the moment they get KE'd. The third rep's the one that ends it all. Link up with the main guy. On the flip side, and then one captain. And then boom, one face hits you as weirdly familiar, like you've seen it before. The lady slams the rules down and declares that only one person will walk out alive from the arena, while everyone was losing their minds with hype. And the main guy's mind snaps back to it. The member's prince got saved 4 years ago. He swore he'd never tangle with the tamers again, and he was genuinely grateful the save came through. His master plan: join the Royal Knights and join the world's mightiest force. This other dude, though, is still cocky, swaggering around like he's gonna take it. No questions asked, just confidence. He's going to take out the main guy. As the clock ticked through the 80s, she vowed she'd be the one to take down the young guy. Then a little argument erupts between them, and the boy squirming like he can't escape it. In the waiting room, waiting for the next punch of destiny, the girl snaps that he's going to collide with the knight's most ferocious leader. They've mastered the art of brewing alchemy potions that crank up your strength by stealing your sanity. But 3 years ago, a disaster struck out of nowhere, and the captain accidentally kills a rival and gets banned for good. The MC can't help but wonder why he's back in the first place. And somehow someone yanked the right strings behind the scenes. The knight leans in and thanks the king for that perfect shot. He grabs the chance and fires off a warning before another disaster strikes. Whatever comes next, he's ready to grab the chaos by the horns and own it making the man feel unstoppable. But someone yells for him to stop the fight the second it starts getting out of hand. Soon, the first round is about to explode into action. And the guy screams, "I'm tossing you straight down to the underworld." Right before anything begins, this guy's already got that total "don't mess with me" energy. You've got to grow up and actually plant that weird seed in your own hand. Some people are totally stumped. But Valius knows exactly, this thing is a full-on alchemist's plant minion. Then he plunges his hand into the earth and orders him to brace, because the impact is about to hit hard. Our main guy is cooking up a plan, and you can feel the trouble brewing. The best way to flex a tamer's power and rockets Beelzebub straight underground. Helmeted idiots scoff and call it pointless, then snap, they shove his brand new mini-monster forward. But then it springs out from the plants, only for everything to be rotten. Thanks to the poison that the main guy's buddy buried in the dirt. Everyone else thinks they're boss. Crossbotch the cultivation, shatter the path, and turn the whole grind upside down. But he knows it'll take a ridiculous amount of time. He had toxin skills up his sleeve, ready to wreck that plant warrior. One of his crew screams, "Use the ogre killer now before it's too late." Hearing that, he nods once, then slams a bottle out like he's ready for whatever's next. As the model hums along, the MC suddenly clocks it. This thing's been running on fuel, and it clicks in his head. But he's still cool, he gives you a heads up before it all goes down. He'd better not dodge, one wrong move and his pals in the stands could get slammed with the impact. Which sends the kid spiraling into pure terror. This guy soon chugs the gas like he's trying to outrun fate. And the king lined in, dying to see what that young upstart would do next. His first order, Caucasus, protect the crowd. Then he barrels in right at them without hesitation, drawing the full alchemist's breath deep into his chest. Then 3 barriers snap into place in a blink, shutting down everything like a lock clicking tight. The crowd goes completely silent, like they can't believe what they're seeing. The young guy snapped in tight to the giant just in time, dodging the strike with pure instinct. Giant, the fallen hype guy. He announces that the young kid just crushed it and takes the win. And the Caucasus, he's even giving his buddy Hercules props for that killer barrier. He admits he did it, then he blurts out he's praying the culprit was the masters from the other side. The academy crowd is totally stunned by Valley's move. Then the knight leader straight up shuts it down. No. Don't panic about the crowd's safety. Watching the boy make sure every single person was safe before anything else. If it smacks straight into the majesty and punches your heart with every beat. So the alchemists all shouted, "Why didn't you strike first?" And these young dudes were like, "Man, if you don't watch it, you're gonna blow." Then boom, my opponent just tosses me an elixir. He couldn't shake the feeling that the king was stressing over nothing, like the people weren't worth all that worry. Right back in his spot, the whole crowd is screaming for him and hyping him up like crazy. Dai's time has finally arrived, now watch him light up the stage. Round 2 bursts to life with the main guy's 2 rivals breathing down his neck. The knight finally crashes down like a curtain falling, getting praised by the king himself. So who's ready to hear her excuse for being late? Turns out she was slammed with hall duties, but she'd never miss her student's throwdown, especially not when Prinzel is Avnir's protege. At 19, she unleashed these wild skills out of nowhere, and it earned her instant, full-blown respect from the master. When he still won't answer, she refuses to back down, she won't either. She wonders if he's napping, but nope, he's just hiding his nerves right beside a legendary adventurer. As the fight erupts, in this episode he drops it. Reverse grip is a total no-go for any real power move. He makes a move and Valia snaps back to the moment he once used. Ver's glad and skates sideways to dodge the impact. She clutched her hairpins as they slipped away, staring in shock, trying to make sense of what she'd just witnessed. Her master snaps his blade into place and watches Prinzel twist her attack, using the redirect like a deadly cue. This trick pulls it off for two killer reasons. His unique grip and ruthless footwork, pure shutdown energy. Deep in the 80s, she stared into the distance with her sword clenched, lost in thought. Word leaving everyone totally baffled. Then they watch her snap into a fresh stance for a lightning quick draw. Some people instantly spot the move, and the king leaned in, hooked by the question of how he taught it to someone barely out of childhood. The knight spots an opening and rockets forward. He charges in to smash the strike before it spreads. She can feel something's off, like the whole world just shifted under her feet. Flashback time, she can't sense Ragum's presence at all. And if you want to pull off that galaxy slash, you've got to shut your eyes tight and stay razor alert the whole time. The girl admits it's brutally hard to hunt the world's top assassin, but he's the only one who can. In the middle of that pause, the master leans in and demands to know why she's learning. And she tells you how, just a few months ago, someone finally opened her eyes. Yeah, she's been through hell and back, and you can see it in every breath. It twice a silent guy in a. She pushed her limits and blew past what she thought she could do. The 80s weren't having any of it. She doesn't even realize it, eyes shut tight, she still slips the strike like pure instinct. Then she rockets after that guy, not slowing down for a second. And her master realizes with total shock that she's downright incredible. Prinzel slams the gas and charges full throttle. But he didn't rush in to attack. She snaps her blade aside, deflects the attack, and then backs off fast. Everybody's freaking out after the fake out hits them. The knight stretches on, and then she slips out like a whisper, until the world finally notices her move. He kept the strike locked in, then slipped into a sneaky stance switch mid-attack. With her sheath clutched tight, the girl lunges forward and unleashes the blade, straight into the chaos of her attack. The galaxy turned into a battlefield, everything got cut down in a single, ruthless slash. Shockwave everywhere. And then boom, the winners got revealed. Her master can't believe what he's seeing, he's blown away by her. Her trickery hits, and he can't help but call her a genius. 80 fires a sharp look straight at Valius. This little hint is basically screaming that he's next, making his knees knock and his courage crumble. After celebrating, she spots her buddy straight up, tells him she knows why he's here, and then laughs because after her epic show, nobody's gonna give him a second glance. The MC nods along, caught in the moment, his thoughts already slipping into even with his O. That was an absolutely awesome move, seriously, it's the best. So I don't blow up the arena. Inside the infirmary, the pals link up and the kids get fired up about just how powerful tonight's gonna be. But the galaxy slash rips through him, and a brutal jolt of pain detonates in his body. Remembering that second scar from the infernal dragon breathing doom into the air. They threw everything they had at it, but a perfect victory still slipped right through their fingers. So this young kid decides. He cracks open his elixir and fights to heal up fast. Prenzel jolts in shock at first, then he finally sees. He stares in shock as his body heals up right before his eyes. But then he stops dead when an earthquake rips through the hospital. And both of them sprinted like crazy to snag the final clash. They finally show up to see the R's. And the cavalry leaders got slammed down in a brutal gravity armlock. Responsible is absolutely furious because the guy won't grab a sword and fight him. Like it's totally nothing, no big deal at all. He pushes himself up, slowly at first, then suddenly. He snaps out a 1-inch punch and smashes through it. Broke free from the lock with effortless ease. Everyone can't stop staring at just how Avnir blasted his way out. And the MC's insane strength was absolutely unreal. Once you're stuck in that position, breaking out is brutally hard. And to pull off that move, you've got to have serious muscle. The King's Fury knocks the tea right off the table, like he can't believe the solo fights are already over. And now ADN Valley has finally landed a big T. Team up with me and go after Avnir, let's snatch that W. Hey, hold up, before the action even starts, there's one thing about the girl you need to know. Hey girls, can I grab a sec to talk? Once this is over, I'm stepping in and taking on the Tamer in a straight-up fair fight. And the King's got absolutely hyped. This whole thing is also you can. Even if he knocks down the knight, he's still flexing his Tamer skills like it's nothing. But he just clocked it, this whole thing is really all about payback for what happened back a few months ago, and trust me, it's coming. So he figures his best chance is a brutal counter move against the guy. The 80s vibe was absolutely unreal. because the leader is about to draw his sword. But she snaps, "I'm not losing to anyone, only my rival gets my limits." The second the fight erupts, she, ready to unleash her legendary power. A galactic strike because she's convinced it's her best shot. But Valius knows someone with it. A barrier-wreathed one can just bounce that cut right back, no sweat. So yeah, this is all about timing because that strike lands or it doesn't. The avenue rolls right up like it's about to pull off something huge, telling her he won't let her charge. He whips his blade through the air, sending sparks flying as he strikes. With crazy speed, he rockets forward, leaps in, and snatches the upper hand. Value sees it's gonna be tough to stop with that speed, and the girl getting hurled through the air like a missile. Thinks she's not getting the full recharge time she needs. Time's running out, everyone's locked on the distance because she's about to strike. But the dude swinging that plain old sword like it was nothing. A brutal swing whips the air into a massive attack. Like yeah, even the adventurers, they do too. Whoa, those debris are gonna make dodging brutal. The judge is about to slam the gavel and call the verdict. Dash flashed a sneaky grin. She rockets through the galaxy, slicing again and again with her sheath like a storm of steel. Valius finally peaked because her eyes had been shut for ages. They're wagering Avner can't slip a single dodge. But I didn't see him once swing his sword to smash and kick straight through the sheath. Dude, the kings hype this girl up so hard it rips my night wide open, and when the weapon is connected by breaking the nose, it blocks full energy channeling completely. She smells it, but don't think she's done yet, she's just getting started. And he channels magic transfer to supercharge his power. She steps up and blows everyone away with her sheer presence, with her deadly tamer magic skills. And just like that, her smile drops and she gets dead serious, ready to unleash her ultimate galaxy slash and turn the whole universe into one epic clash. The crowd erupted and even her master couldn't shake it. Dang, she's raging. Dude, he figured that out at lightning speed. Everyone's dead sure she's the alpha at the elite academy. I'm standing there and she's on cloud 9. Moon thought she finally had it in the bag. At least in her own mind, she's already won. Avenir suddenly pops up on. He charges forward untouched, then lands a brutal hit that drops her cold. It's a straight-up victory for him, and he can't even hide how pumped he is like I dropped every muscle in my body during the strike. He moved like a feather, light, fast, and impossible to pin down. But if he botched this, everything would have gone bad, real bad, right then and there. He'd be toast for sure. And he's staring at you like, no way, you're seriously incredible. Valia scoops her up in one quick, unstoppable motion. She takes a sip of his special elixir, and he beams like he just pulled off something legendary because he's proud. And then bam, he snaps into action. A solid punch slams into his face. As panic hits, she finally realizes she's lost. Just somewhere else I thought it was over, I actually believed I won. And leans in, asking what she drank to feel that good. The boys were all like, whoa, that stuff is an elixir. And he finally admits he's terrified of losing everything. But his buddies couldn't stop because they all liked it too. You got defeated in the worst possible way, so listen, if you don't turn this around, I'll end you. Right as he arrives, they call his name and drag him straight into the arena. Arena and Avnir sending chills down everyone's spine. Staring at the door, I couldn't stop waiting for him. Trying to outmatch someone with that mindset is brutal, it's nearly impossible. And everyone can see it, those two are locked in, dead focused. If every last one of them finally shows up. He blurted that he'd lay back and chill with the girls. He learned the hard way, never underestimate a single person again. And is all in, convinced the boys are going to win. The judge screams that this is the final match of the tourney, and the MCs are convinced he has to flex that tamer power and prove it, right now. The second the match kicks off, the knight lunges forward and hammers his foe with a straight, no-messing punch. The young dude clocks that the other guy wants to off himself before the summon hits, so he jumps in and plays his exact same move. He smacked him with a cloud of mist that warped his vision instantly. Then he charges in and sweeps right through. Suddenly it threw him completely off balance. Caucasus locked in, trying to pin him down with a brutal opening. 80s got blown away by how perfectly smooth that coordination was. Even with 0 commands. Everyone's going wild, shouting that tamers are straight-up legendary. And the Beetle King is about to smash into a fight. But bam, life just lands a brutal gut punch on him. And that's it, now I'm going full power, and boom, he reveals that body enhancement is his secret weapon. Then the guy straight up claims nobody can ever outmatch a real tamer, no cap. Valius surges to full power for the call, kills the knights over and gets a rush that. With a grin, he shoves the words out, Beelzebub be. The ground started bubbling up, turning everything slick in an instant. But Avnir's got the moves to slip right through it. Everyone's shaking at how he hunts down the dry patches. Caucasus steps up. He swings with a brutal punch that snaps the leader wide awake. Chilling out is the only way to take those hits without losing your cool. Ninja quick footwork, he twists out of the punch at the last second and drops down like a cat, landing with effortless precision. To land a rib-cracking kick. The king couldn't believe it. He'd used summoning to carve out a blind spot, and he muttered that even top generals can't pull off something that sharp. And after that, it rocketed him straight up into the sky. High Valius snapped his fingers and cast a spell. And somehow it's the one spot that hits different because of all the spots. Yeah, this is the one. It's a full-on 5-fire arrow blast, yet Avnir doesn't even flinch. He hammers the spell with punches, then slams face first into the barrier he just conjured. He tells them that without this trick, he'd be tossed out of the arena for good, caught up with all those bubbles. Caucasus doesn't want you slowing down for even a second. So Valius grits his teeth and unleashes another arrow spell. The leader springs up and twists out of the way at the last second. But the Beetle King is already geared up and raring to go. He slams a punch into him, driving him straight toward the arena's edge. But the guy got a barrier already locked in, ready to shield him. Him refusing to drop, staying upright on his feet. He's convinced that if this were a knockout match, he'd wipe the floor and win, but the truth hits harder than he ever expected. The announcers pumped up the crowd, and the young man turned every head his way. Who spills that all these bubbles are secretly ticking time bombs. The whole plan was to blanket the knight in them. He lets them go, then boom, but now the arena's packed, so he waves goodbye like it's over. Avnir knows he has to stop this, yet before he can move, the spell snaps loose and goes feral. And then he just laughs it off like it's nothing. Accepting defeat. Everyone's frozen in shock and 80's convinced she found a rival worth fighting. At last, the king steps forward and the whole world holds its breath. Tamer's reputation is about to flip upside down, like big time. The announcer slams down the title and crowns the elite academy, with Valius stealing the spotlight as MVP. And Avnir straight up admits it was a total wild ride. From that moment on, the crowd goes wild. Everybody screams and chants about how tamers are the best. Straight up the real deal. Honestly, it was obvious as soon as I saw it. Di snaps upright, grinning like she's about to lock in a high five with her future bae. All right, she was moving, then she froze. When two knights finally embrace the young champ. Sai storms in straight from year 3. Join them, every smile aimed at the boys, and boom, they win. And he thanks him for the elixir. Avnir's back. He pushes his point of view, then lines in and tells the MC, someday I'm calling for a rematch. The MCs shrug like it's nothing, toss the alchemist a miracle elixir, and watch his grin light up instantly. Because the boss has no clue how filthy it really is. But when nothing happens, his jaw drops, he's completely stunned. He starts hunting around and asking questions nonstop until it finally clicks. He grabbed the wrong one, and it's the boy S. The king bellows and the whole room goes dead silent. As the award ceremony kicks off, the kid surges from the very bottom and climbs straight to the top. On his epic journey, like the whole world is daring him to keep going. He even stepped in and saved the legendary Nuth's Arrow of Hope crew. So everyone gasped, total shock hit the room. He swings the door open and invites them inside. As he rode out of the royal capital, everyone stared in pure disbelief. The knights leave everyone in awe and then he blurts out, how do you look this young? And she blurts out every detail of the appearance spell. Turns out those assassin jokes weren't jokes at all. Suddenly they're back, and the sage just declares they owe that young man a huge debt. Their opening move is pure flex. They lay Tamer's power on the table for everyone to see. Through Hero Valius's legendary ways, unleashing the power to open an entire department inside the elite academy. Thinking it would stop soon, not realizing they were about to go way farther than anyone could have guessed. But it doesn't even come close. Saving their lives hits way harder. Then the king lays down his decree right there. The protagonist finally grabs the ultimate reward. They slapped a promotion on him and elevated him straight to rank S. Us bolting past the knights and his squad got absolutely wiped out. And with those final moves, the tournament slams shut. And now we're rocketing straight to the moon, because Artemis didn't have a clue this would hit her this fast. And he asks how Killen's vibing after one of those evil gods got absolutely yeeted. Kill them all now. But still, a creepy whisper slithered into my ear. Genbu the OG is all in. I'm wiping out this whole squad, no cap. I'll do whatever it takes. Sirius was flexing, and my ego swelled so hard I swear I could touch the moon. No joke. Bianco shuts it down fast. No way we're letting some kids grab the Godslayer badge. Hard pass. Smash that notification bell so you don't miss a single episode drop. Time on TOB's channel.